drugging, choking, raping. That's what he was doing. And then everybody on Threads, because they're all geniuses, were like, well, this guy's great. We got to throw our support behind him. And he was drugging and choking and raping people. So this idea that, like, all of these people are, like, omniscient guardians of truth all the time?
All right.
You just supported a guy who...
Is this working? Gotta check. Gotta check. It is working. All right. It is working. My last drawing stream as a free man. Or ever.
Who was drugging, choking, and raping people, which in fairness to Eric Swalwell was probably legal in California 10 years ago. But the point is this.
Didn't draw for a while.
All of these people are the same people
Kind
that
of
will
felt sick of
attack
drawing.
any person who thought Donald Trump had a good idea. That doesn't mean that he had a million good ideas, but he had some good ideas, and he still does, by the way. He's just chosen to not do anything about any of them. And instead we're invading Cuba, which is not what anyone signed up for. But these people with no irony and no self-reflection at all, who supported the drugging, choking, raping Eric Swalwell up until 10 minutes ago, will tell you that everyone should be omniscient and know everything that's going to happen. Give it up for it. Let's listen a little more here to Judge Jeanine, friend of the show. Judge Jeanine Pirro, a lot of people make fun of her alcoholism. I think a functioning alcoholic is more impressive than a regular person, and I always have. And let me dig into this before we go to Judge. When you meet, my friend's father was and he died of cirrhosis of the liver, it's fine, but when he was a functioning alcoholic, like a guy who just every morning he wakes up and the goal is just to plow through the day, or lady, to plow through the day so they can get back home to get booze in a glass so that they can sit on their couch and go to that place where it's okay. They just want to go to that place where it's okay.
Man, I hope I don't start drinking
again.
again.
Glass, when that second glass, that cork opens, that bottle of wine, that ice clinking in that martini shaker. Woo! They just want to go to that place where it's okay, and all day they're actually pretty fucking productive, because the sooner they get what they need to done,
it froze.
For ouch and go. What is Judge Jeanine like the Attorney General now? What's going on with Judge Jeanine? Oh, she's a U.S. Attorney. D.C. U.S. Attorney. So wait a minute. Was Pam Bondi replaced by Judge Jeanine? Hold on. What's going on? I need to know this. She's a U.S. Attorney. What is Judge Jeanine doing here? So she's United States Attorney for the District of Columbia. So Google who's our Attorney General right now. I'm wondering, who is Attorney General of the United States right now? Todd Blanche, right, the guy who cut the Maxwell deal. Good for, right, okay. He can play the game, he plays ball. So is she like an Attorney General for the state of California? No, she doesn't even live here. She lives in Florida, right? What is Judge Jeanine doing? Oh, she lives in New York, and then whatever. All right, whatever. So Judge Jeanine is a U.S. attorney, and I guess they're just bringing her on to... Is she pursuing a Fed case again? Okay. So D.C. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro announced earlier Thursday that she has opened a hotline for anybody to give information about alleged sexual or inappropriate conduct in D.C. by the married Swalwell, 45. Because you got to remember, Eric Swalwell was a congressman, and then he was running for the governor of California, By the way, FBI Director Kash Patel has also encouraged any possible victims to contact federal law enforcement. I mean, this is a guy that told us Jeffrey Epstein had no victims. Kash Patel is asking victims of Eric Swalwell to contact law enforcement so he can promptly delete their messages. Kash Patel wants you to call up and leave a message so he can send agents to your house and threaten you. Can you believe it, this goon? Patel goes, we should welcome him to sit down with the FBI and share any information he has, Patel tauntingly wrote on social media Monday evening. Hey, release the files, you fucking fraud. You should be fired. Victims shared harsh, graphic stories being assaulted by the new former lawmaker, with one accusing Swalwell of sexually assaulting her at the Times Square Edition Hotel in April 2024. Well, I'm confident that Kash Patel's going to get to the bottom of this because he's done a great job with the other victims. Right? With Epstein and all this. Like, he's done a phenomenal job with all the other victims. So this Eric Swalwell guy is out. So this guy's a bad guy, okay? We're not going to go through every allegation. He's a bad dude. He's telling women, let's go to the hotel, and I got to get some clothes, I got to pick something up, whatever, he's doing some bad stuff. Now, Katie Porter, friend of the show, and our choice, we're going to make an endorsement now, because we don't endorse people on the show ever. But we are endorsing, right now, we are endorsing Katie Porter, because the Democrats will win California. A Republican's not going to win, Spencer Pratt's not going to win. It's not going to happen. You know?
That's fucked.
I'm sure Spencer Pratt's a nice guy.
We're fucked.
But I don't think he's going to win. But maybe he'll win. I don't think he's going to win. But I don't know. The polls are not they're not too hot. We're going to endorse Katie Porter here because if it's all going to end, which it is, by the way, spoiler alert, we'd like to end it with Katie Porter. We need kind of this hamburger helper, abusive mom to kind of bring it all to heel. Let's watch a little bit of this, because now this is Katie Porter outlining her priorities. Now, by the way, we don't need to know Katie's policies to endorse her. This is our new rule with any politician we endorse. We don't need to know their policies. And we've never endorsed politicians before. But we're going to start right now with Katie Porter. And we don't need to know her policies. And in fact, we'd rather not, but we're going to watch this news clip anywhere where Katie is going to outline her priorities for the state of California. Now remember, Katie is, I believe, from Orange County. She's a mom, and she's mad, and she's angry. So, and we need that. We need kind of that energy, because Newsom is too suave. He's like a slick scumbag, lives on a vineyard type of guy. We've had that. Cool as a cucumber, the fucking silver fox hair, all that bull. We don't want that anymore. We need a mom who's angry. We need a mom who occasionally shits herself. Not full on. Not like full on where it's embarrassing. But where you just say to yourself, I kind of shit myself. We need a mom who is on the shot, takes a little Mangiano, and then gets ahead of herself and has a little burrito and has got to go home and change the pants. And on the phone with her assistant goes, I shit myself! She's angry at the assistant that she had to spell it out, that the assistant didn't automatically know what I have to go back home means. Well, are you going back home? Is there something that I can pick up at your house? Because you're actually running late. Hey, I gotta go back home! Is there anything I can just get for you? Because you're actually already 15 minutes late for that. I shit myself! And then there's silence on the other end of the phone. And then the person goes, understood. That's what we need. We need a governor who screams, I shit myself, into the phone. And then there's a quick pause. And then her assistant goes, understood. Katie Porter.
Former Orange County Congresswoman Katie Porter is a top Democratic contender in the race for California governor. Ahead of the June primary, Porter is among the Democrats hoping to pick up Congressman Eric Swalwell's supporters.
That's
after he
right.
suspended
Drugging,
his
choking,
Porter gave
raping,
an
everyone on
interview to
Threads.
KTLA outlining
Drugging,
her
choking, raping. Drugging, choking, raping. That's your boy. Keep going, sorry.
tackling homelessness and giving free college tuition. KTLA's Andy Rose Ramos reports.
Why? Why are they giving free?
Katie Porter says it's time for California's
Spitting.
first female governor.
I
That's
think
right.
this is a time for women to lead.
That's right. It now stop. Now Katie's on a shot. Katie looks good now. She's on a goddamn shot. Katie looks good. Fuck. Katie's coming. I'm proud of Katie. So now Katie is getting healthier because remember, she almost killed her assistant when her assistant mistakenly stumbled into the frame. So now Katie has started her campaign with "It's time for women to lead." This is her first policy. Now I like this policy because it's not about anything that the state is going through. It's not about the budget shortfall or employment. It's not about homelessness or crime. It's not about the fiscal health of the state. It's not about anything climate related, fire prevention, or anything like that. Katie's decided the most important thing is just to say it's time for women to lead. Now, you might think the mayor of Los Angeles is a woman. The mayor of the largest
I
city,
know,
you know, the one
huh?
that burned down, the mayor of the largest city in LA is already a woman. In fact, a woman of color.
Right.
There's tons of women on the LA City Council. You know the council that governs the largest city in the United States of America? That's also a woman. The mayor of Beverly Hills, one of the wealthiest cities in America, is a woman.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Interesting.
Really?
But Katie Porter has decided that it's time for women to lead. So that policy I like so far. I like that policy because it's not about anything. So that's what I like. So by the way, I tell everyone this, stay above the fray. Just say things like that. It's time for women to lead and women to be listened to. And so, okay, let's continue. Let's see what policy number 2 is. Katie Porter.
This is a time for moms to lead. Otherwise,
Okay,
single mothers.
stop. We have policy number 2. Policy number 2 from Katie Porter is it's time for moms to lead. Policy number 2, because again, this is the morning news. KTLA Channel 5, they're in a disgusting park. They've put Katie Porter in one of those directing chairs. By the way, she's heavily drugged. Not only on the shot, she's heavily drugged because she cannot be. The thing about Katie Porter is she has to be on several medications so she doesn't punch this skinny bitch in the face who's bothering her. So now Katie Porter is... Now, can you Google if Karen Bass has children, the mayor of LA? I'm just curious. I don't know. I don't really care about people's families, but I just want to make a point. I wonder if Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, who's a woman... Oh, she does have a child. Okay, so again, it's interesting because Katie Porter, I guess, doesn't know that the mayor of Los Angeles is a mom and a woman. I'm unaware of this, but the mayor of LA is a mom and a woman. Many of the people on the LA City Council are women, identify as women, and believe a lot of them are mothers. And I know for a fact that the mayor of Beverly Hills is a woman, and I believe she has children. Google mayor of Beverly Hills family. Again, I don't really like even talking about people's family. I'm just making a point because Katie Porter said it's time for moms to lead, and I couldn't agree more.
Oh, dude. Sorry for responding late. Yeah, I'm gonna start making those again. I need to make those Patrice O'Neal videos, man. Just kind of trying to experimenting, trying to do other stuff. But yeah, we'll come back, dude. Always like listening to Patrice. We need him more than ever. Need him more than ever, man. I always think, like, what would he be saying about the things that's going on right now? It's like, if he was saying those things back then, Jesus Christ, man, I think what he would be doing right now.
Craig is now the mayor. Sharona Nazarian is the one that I know. Craig just got elected. So a dude just got elected and replaced a woman. I thought it was a woman, but a dude did just get elected. And, yeah, she was a mother. She was a mom. And she just did get replaced by a guy. But is she running again? I don't know. But the point is this. There's a lot of people in our country that are and by the way, that are near Katie Porter. Like, Katie Porter could meet these people and probably has. So we have a mother and a woman leading the city of Los Angeles. That's pretty obvious. But so the first two planks in the platform I like. Women to lead, moms to lead. Let's see. Let's hit us with some specifics, Katie. Don't make us wait. Katie Porter again, friend of the show.
3, who drives a minivan, sort of famously. You must be acutely aware of gas prices. Californians want relief at the pump. You say no to big oil.
Well, one of our reasons that our gas is more expensive here is because we have something called the low carbon fuel standard. We have our own blend of gasoline, and now they see beautiful clean air. We're seeing respiratory health improve. That's because we have our own fuel blend.
So to be clear, you would strongly oppose sort of opening up those refineries, drilling.
We have refineries open right now in California, and they need to stay open.
So now what Katie is now talking about, the news person said, you're a mom, you have a minivan, and there's just pain at the pump. And Katie goes, well, we have pain at the pump because we have a low carbon fuel emission, blah, blah, blah. Standard, we have our own blend of gasoline, and now we have clean air and then respiratory health. By the way, a lot of people are getting lung cancer that have never smoked. Whatever. Katie Porter is now claiming that respiratory health is up. Now, I don't know how she's measuring that. Everyone I know is sick every 2 weeks. People are dying of lung cancer at 24 years old that have never touched a cigarette. But Katie Porter is now saying, actually, it's okay that gas is expensive because... But the real answer is Katie Porter says... Here's the deal. You don't have to drive far to attack your husband. You want to save the gas for the days when you need to show up at your husband's house your ex-husband's house with a weapon. No, Katie Porter is, and now I understand what she's saying because you can't turn everything because the Republicans, if they were in power, would just turn everything into Mordor, where everything's oil, sludge, and horror. And I get that. We can't have that. So let's listen to a little bit more of Katie Porter here. Again, we're endorsing her. By the way, without knowing any of these policies, I don't even know and she doesn't know what her policies are. It doesn't matter. None of them do. Actually, spoiler alert, none of them have a clue because once you own this dump, then you realize you can't really help anything. Nothing's going to get fixed. But let's listen to a little bit. Katie Porter.
The most painful I've had in a long time. It's because of President Trump's war in Iran. That is why we're
she's
seeing
right.
$6 gas.
She's hitting Iran, and she's right.
One of your platforms, eliminating state income taxes for families making under $100,000. Doing this by making the corporate tax structure progressive. That does hinge, though, on a vote. My question to you is, what happens if you cannot get the vote? Is there, in other words, a plan B?
Californians are going to be the ones, as you point out, who get to decide. And they understand right now.
She wants to eliminate state income taxes for people under $100,000 and do that by making the corporate tax progressive. I don't hate that.
That's great.
I don't hate eliminating I don't know how many taxes those people pay anyway. I'm sure they do pay taxes. I don't know what the percentage is, but I don't hate that idea. The thing about Katie Porter is she does have some good ideas. She does understand that we do need to help people that have less money.
Right.
So, let's just finish this out because I do. Again, I like her. I don't hate this woman. She's fun to talk about because she's abusive and cruel and all of the things that I like and think are important, actually. But let's just finish up with her.
Overtime. They get a big raise at work. They might pay a little more tax that year. They might get bumped up into a higher bracket. And they think it's absolutely fair that the same thing should happen for businesses.
You're promising free tuitions at UCs and CSUs, in part funded by that progressive corporate tax you just explained. Can you drill down on some of the details of this plan?
My proposal is to pair 2 tuition-free years at a UC, a CSU, or a Cal Poly with those 2 free years at community college.
Does this apply to people who identify as undocumented?
There's no qualifiers on that with regard.
So she's saying we're going to get free tuition, 2 years at a community college and then 2 years at a regular school. And then it'll apply to undocumented people too. It's whatever. She's basically saying, listen, we're giving you 2 years at a community college for
But
free.
college
I think,
doesn't
and then
mean
we're gonna give you
anything
2
right
years
now.
at a Cal Poly, or a thing like that. Now, here's the problem with school being the answer.
No one's gonna. Yeah, it doesn't.
School is not. Get rid of her, by the way. Thank you, Katie Porter. We appreciate it. We'll see you on the campaign trail. I've offered my services. No one's called me back. Folks, I mean, cell phones are costing people way too much money. I don't know about you, but I like keeping my money where I can see it. Unfortunately,
This
traditional
fool
big wireless carriers with
fucking
bugs.
ads. How many ads does he have?
Think.
Man?
I'm a man. And I'm serious here. I don't know why we keep this bullshit about school being the answer.
Right. See?
School's not the answer.
It's not the answer.
It's clearly not the answer. We literally just talked about the era of the mass layoff. Can you go to that article again? Because, by the way, all of those people that just got told to go fuck themselves, they all went to school.
Right.
They all went to college. You think they didn't go to college to work in at Oracle? You think somebody found them on the street? No, they all went to college. They all have student loans. In Silicon Valley and beyond, companies are cutting staff and doing it with a big axe. Instead of laying off people in more incremental and less disruptive ways, employers are seizing on the potential financial upside of severing swaths of their workforce at once. That is a departure from not long ago when mass layoffs registered as a sign of trouble or mismanagement, that a company needed to take drastic measures to right its performance. Now, such a company is more likely to get a big stock bump and praise from investors for acting boldly. That's what the country we've created, where somebody walks in and goes, "We fired everyone! You've acted boldly. You've acted boldly. Put them all in the street." Behind the scenes, so Snap got rid of 23% over the last year. Block shares had fallen 16% this year before it laid off 4,000, nearly half of its employees in late February. The stock has since reversed those losses and then some. So, by the way, companies cutting employees tells the stock market things are good.
That's crazy.
This is how perverse this is. So if you're eliminating thousands of people from your company and profits are going up that way, instead of your company growing and adding employees and adding market share, you're signaling we're going to eliminate human capital and we're going to eventually automate all of these jobs. We're going to use AI and the investors are going to benefit. And instead of the stock market going, "Oh, you're in a precarious financial position that you need to axe all these people," they go, "No, this is great. Let's get rid of them. Let's get rid of them and put them on the street." But here's my point. All of these people that worked at these companies went to school.
Right.
They all have degrees.
Yeah.
Some of them have graduate degrees. And the idea that when I grew up, everybody taught, and they were not wrong. They talked about how important education was. Education is the key. It's in the information age. Education is the key. Don't be in a union, you pig. Don't work construction. Don't work with your hands. Be fat and work in an office. That's the dream.
Hell no, dude.
Have back spasms and work in an office all day. And have someone tell you when you move up a floor. You want the big office, Bob? You want the big office, don't you, Bob? Well, you'll get it soon, Bob. Keep doing everything you're doing. We're looking at you. And we told people, we demonized an entire swath of jobs. Plumbers, electricians, people that work with their hands, people that work in unions, people that install HVAC. We said they were all animals and pigs, and they pointed at the people in the street. doing construction, fixing potholes on roads that you needed to drive over to get to your fucking house. And you said, you want to be like them or you want to go to college? You want to go to college, you could work at IBM and
That's such
get
a
cheated
bullshit
on.
ass lie, dude.
Don't you want to go to college and work at IBM so your husband can cheat on you with a child? Your pedophile husband? Is it a nice life you have? Working at IBM? The FBI dragged your husband out of the house, pedophile? That's an aside, but the point is this. We've demonized so many jobs and so many fields, and then Katie Porter and all these people, they cannot help their snobbery. It's not just Katie Porter.
Bros, go to a trade
They cannot
field,
help
man.
looking down
get a
on
trade
people.
job.
They love these institutions that supposedly convey some worth on people. And all of a sudden, all of these people are graduating from college into the weakest job market in years, and they have them. Now, I'm not saying we don't need college. I'm not saying we don't need specialized skills. There's going to be a lot of jobs for nurses and home health aides and people that run nursing homes and hospices and things like that, because we have hundreds of millions of people that are about to retire and that are retired and about to really need end of life care. So I get it. You're going to need people to compete in highly skilled manufacturing jobs. Taiwan's making all these chips because we haven't devoted a ton of time and resources to preparing a workforce to do those specially skilled, high-end manufacturing jobs that we'll need as tech becomes even more and more a part of the economic picture. But the idea that, school... Now, listen, I get it. Go and be a teacher. Go be a specific thing and go get a degree for a specific thing. But this idea
But they're laying off
that you're going to get
people
a
like
very
crazy
broad
right now.
degree in some type of discipline that can be applied anywhere. Ooh, you also studied philosophy? Well, that's interesting. And that is going to be your ticket.
Sorry, this one.
It's not going to work anymore because Sam Altman has opened the Stargate and the AI demon is chasing you around that little Brooklyn apartment and he's going to sink his teeth into your neck. Don't be mad at me. It is what it is. You're going to be eliminated whether
Right.
you have your degree or not.
Yeah.
So what Katie Porter should say, I'm telling you, she should say, we need a massive infrastructure project. We need high-speed rail. We need to invest in our public spaces. We need to rebuild bridges. We need to rebuild buildings. We need to destigmatize lots of jobs in this country and prepare people for incoming AI. And it's going to take a long time before AI is going out there to replace HVAC or whatever. We need teachers and cops and firefighters.
HVAC.
We need medical professionals to help homeless people
Fucking
and addicts.
excited, dude.
Okay? We need all of that. But to just say we're going to send you to community college and then put you at USC, who gives a fuck?
I know. It's
For
like,
what?
Yeah, for
I have a
what?
master's in public administration. Shut up.
Communication
Shut
and
up.
shit.
I'm telling you, Sam Altman has opened the Stargate. It's not as easy anymore as going and getting an impressive degree and standing there in front of your fucking dumb family. Sharon's so smart. We always knew she was smart. Is she? Is she smarter than the AI demon? Oh, I think not.
Right.
I think not. So what's coming is going to be incredibly disruptive. And it would be smart if our politicians started shifting our cultural values along with their priorities and start talking about realistic, rational ways for people to actually earn a living. But again, listen. We can all be wrong, right? Kicking, choking, drugging, raping, choking,
What?
raping, drugging. Your friend. You went to fundraisers at his house. You drank wine with him. You talked about how great he was on Threads, Kathy Griffin and others. And by the way, I don't fault you. he said some nice things. Should I go around faulting everyone? Is it their fault? I don't think it's their fault. Kicking. Maybe it wasn't kick. Maybe I'm adding kicking. I think I'm adding drugging, choking, raping is enough. I think I'm adding kicking to that. I think I'm adding kicking. I think drugging, choking, raping. I think I'm adding kicking. Can we just, let's get a little more Judge Janine here, just from the beginning here.
Hear about someone who was allegedly drugging, choking, raping victims.
Okay, I added kicking. It's drugging, choking, and raping. I added kicking. So as a journalist, I'm taking responsibility. I don't know if Eric Swalwell kicked them. He drugged them, choked them, and raped them. I added kicking. I just got ahead of myself. I imagine when you are drugging, choking, and raping someone that you might throw a kick. So as a journalist, I want to apologize to the members of the press community for insinuating that Eric Swalwell, who drugged, raped, and choked women, that he also kicked them. He may not have kicked them. He may have kicked them and we don't know. But we support Katie Porter. It's time for women to lead. It's time for moms to lead, because it's time for moms to go out there, women, moms, time for moms, and not rich moms, minivan moms. I believe this. Minivan moms who've
The
had
bird
enough.
hand. You know,
That's kind of the we need
men
to pivot in that
have
direction.
to men.
Pivot away from
Men?
Gavin Newsom, his
Men.
silver hair,
Men
you know, his charm.
have to men, and it's
You know,
not
his wife's out
the
there
fault
talking
of
about
the
killing
woman.
someone. Remember, she killed someone, Gavin Newsom's wife? She went to some jail. She's like, you're all killers, but so am I. And we're all doing fine. She goes, it was an accident. I killed someone as an accident. I killed you. And I'm sure you all killed someone as an accident. Try to get up. Gavin Newsom's wife, and then we'll end the show like this, but Gavin Newsom's wife recently was like, hey, she went to a jail, or maybe it was a while ago, and it just surfaced recently. But she was basically, she killed someone by accident. So Jennifer Sybil Newsom, the wife of Gavin Newsom, yeah, she accidentally killed her sister. Make this bigger, please. She killed her sister back. Governor Gavin Newsom's wife told inmates she had killed her sister in a freak golf karting accident in an apparent attempt to connect with them.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, dude.
Yeah. Jennifer Sybil Newsom, an actress, documentary filmmaker, and wife of Gavin Newsom, recounted her comments in a resurfaced clip from 2016. Speaking at a tech
horrible,
conference in
dude.
San Francisco, she said she, quote, had to be very raw when she interviewed the young offenders for 2015 documentary, which examined how cultural norms about masculinity affected boys. I told them about my own loss, she says in the footage, with tears in her eyes. She said, I lost my eldest sister a few days before my 7th birthday, and I blame myself for her death. Well, why? During a holiday to Hawaii in 1981, Miss Newsom, then age 6, had been playing with her 8-year-old sister, Stacy, when the golf cart she had been driving went into reverse and killed Stacy. Here's what happened.
Damn.
You want to know what happened? She said she didn't see the sister behind the car.
Bullshit.
That's a lie. That's a lie. Here's what happened. She was on a golf cart, and she's young. She doesn't know golf carts kill people. She sees the sister behind her. She tries to scare the sister a little bit, and she kills her. She kills her. It's manslaughter. Manslaughter.
It is.
I'm not saying, hey, you're a kid, but it's manslaughter. It's manslaughter. Well, in this case, woman slaughter, or as Katie Porter would call it, mom slaughter. Because it's time for women to lead. It's time for women to get into golf carts and kill their sisters again. And then go to the prison and talk about it. But, and God bless Jennifer Sybil Newsom, whatever. God bless, get her out of here. But, and we that's a sad tragedy, whatever. And she went to a jail and said, I'm sure all of you guys are in here because of a golf accident as well. Aren't all you guys in here because of a golf karting accident? And then some guy's like, no, we actually dissolved the body of a guy in a tub. Right. So was it which hole was that? Hole 19? Yes, hole 19. The one after 18. The one off the course, hun. Anyway, that's Jennifer Sybil Newsom, but that's not what we need. We don't need people, with golf cart accidents in their past. We need a Katie Porter. We need a woman who, at the public pool summer snack bar, I want you to picture this. She's in Teva sandals.
Just educate
Those are the sandals. They're not flip flops. They're
These
Tevas.
motherfuckers are stupid.
They have the get up Teva sandal. It's the Velcro.
Like look online. These motherfuckers
Make
are
that
just
big. She's in a
opinionated
Teva
with some
sandal.
bullshit.
There it is.
Always bringing up stupid ass
Katie
statistics
Porter's
that's
in a
not even
Teva
relevant.
sandal at the summer
Bitches are fucking
snack
stupid
shop
right now,
at the pool.
Like, why would you want more of that?
And she's on a line, and there's two people ahead of her. And one of them's some Republican dad. She just knows. She knows he's some fucking Republican dad. And she's standing there, and her eyes are burning the back of his head, and she's praying. She just wishes a freak lightning strike came out of the clear blue sky and just zapped him and watch him burn. And she stands there, and she stands there, and she stands there, and then she gets one of the children nuggets and the other one pizza. And she gets herself a Caesar salad. And she sits down by the pool, and she goes, "It's time to eat! Time to eat!" That's how she talks. "Time to eat! Get on the boat! Time to eat!" And the kid has one nugget and wants to go back into the pool. And then the kid takes 2 bites of the pizza and goes back in the pool. And she's secretly relieved because now she has 4 nuggets and 80% of a slice of pizza at the public pool. And the kids go back and play in the pool, and she goes, "Fine, well, whatever, we'll eat later." And she quickly and quietly eats the nuggets and the pizza, and she puts them in the garbage, and she sits down, and her friend texts her and goes, "Listen, there's Swalwell
This
things
drawing is
breaking
ridiculous.
right now. Drugging, choking, raping. We're back." And Katie Porter, with pizza still lodged in her throat and sauce on her fingers, looks at her iPhone, and she lives another day. The gleam in her eyes could light 1,000 torches through the woods. It's time for women, and even more than that, it's time for moms. Bye-bye.
That's fucking funny, dude.
And it's about Israel. And I always thought it was kind of, I don't know if sacrilegious is the word for it, for like a government to name an area that Israel, because that's something God named in the Bible to a family, Jacob's family and his descendants. Would you say that's sacrilegious, or am I saying this all wrong? For a government to give a land.
So, like the modern nation state of Israel,
Right, yeah,
compared to like what's going on in the Old Testament and all that.
Yeah,
I think that it's like the modern nation state was set up to be essentially an atheistic, quasi-socialist, almost kind of a New World Order project. It was established under the British Empire and the British Empire's mandate.
Right.
The British Empire was run by the Rothschilds more or less at that time. So this is pretty much a Rothschild project, in tandem with the rest of what's called the Atlanticist power bloc, which is just Western civilization basically at that time. So I think they wanted a geostrategic location to be in the Middle East, to be kind of a landing base for the West. And eventually I think what happened is that it became very much a power block of its own. We had a lot of subversion of our government through
Right.
operatives. So, you know, a big part of the Epstein-Maxwell stuff was that kind of compromise. So I don't think that the modern nation state of Israel is necessarily identical to what the Old Testament theological significance of Israel is. I think it's the same loose people group. There are still Jews. Like, there's some people that think that there's no more Jews in regard to the Old Testament Jews. I do think they're the same people group. When you read the church fathers, you know, they still continue after, you know, rabbinic Judaism comes about in the 4th and 5th century. They still speak of Jews as Jews. But the idea that the secular atheist nation state is the fulfillment of some promise is an evangelical mistake. So I'm sorry, that was a long ass answer to say that's a dumb evangelical mistake. No offense to evangelicals. No offense to evangelicals. But this comes out of dispensationalism and like the Scofield Study Bible, which was funded by Oxford and promoted in America to get people on board with, I believe, the new nation state of Israel.
Oh, okay. Exactly.
Yeah.
So go ahead and bring that up. So I was reading this in the King James version, and it said, well, I don't want to read all of that. It's towards the bottom of that. It's highlighted. It said, you know, that was fine, Joe. Keep it right there. The land which the Lord your God giveth thee, then ye shall return unto the land of your possession and enjoy it, which Moses the Lord's servant gave you on this side of Jordan toward the sun rising. So
It's like giving a location of Israel.
Yeah.
The land, right?
So bring up the little map I sent you, Joe. So the sun comes up in the east, right? So based on that,
There's Jordan.
there's Jordan. Now,
Do I get in
Israel's
trouble if I
the
draw
west.
nipples?
So I would
It's such
think
a
if
weird ass
what,
rule.
what was mentioned in the King James version
It's
about
like
the area
bitches be
that
drawing.
God promised his
I mean,
chosen
it's
people,
like
looked like he would probably
they
be
dress
in Iraq
naked.
or Saudi
And,
Arabia.
like,
or am I
fucking-
reading this and seeing this wrong?
Well, by the time
I don't know,
when
man.
David takes Zion, right? Eventually,
Drawing
when you
naked
get to the
in like
books of
those
the Kings,
award
you'll
shows.
notice that
Like, why do I
David
get in
eventually
trouble if I
takes
draw naked shit?
Israel, or excuse me, takes
OnlyFans.
Jerusalem, right? So
This is OnlyFans.
Jerusalem, and this is something you might have not noticed when you read Genesis. It mentions
There has
the
to be
sort of
another way to
Melchizedek,
get away.
right? Melchizedek was a Gentile priest
Should I draw like an eye?
in the land of Salem.
I won't get in trouble if I draw
Right.
an eye, right?
This is way back in Abraham's day, right? So this is before they try to conquer
like
the
an
land.
eyeball.
And if you fast forward to the time when David's beginning to conquer the city, the main city of Jerusalem, right, to take it back, people think that this is some sort of like land theft, but it was originally a Gentile righteous people group that worshiped the true God that the Canaanites and the Amalekites and these other nations came in and took. So God is telling David and Joshua and these people to take that land back, right? But it was originally a righteous Gentile nation because Melchizedek was a Gentile. Paul will describe this in Hebrews 7. So, I mean, that might sound like I'm getting off topic, but when you get to later on, no, I think that the cities in where we think of Israel today, they are the same locations, right? Like Jerusalem is Jerusalem, and that's the land that by the time of King David, he takes and makes it the city of David. But in his Psalms, he refers to the city of Zion as identical to Salem. I think it's Psalm 76, identical to Salem, where Melchizedek was a priest back in the days of Abraham. The only reason I say all that is that Paul makes an argument out of this to show that in Hebrews 7, he says that the priesthood that Melchizedek had is superior to the Mosaic, Aaronic, Levitical priesthood. So anything that's Mosaic law is inferior to this higher priesthood, which Hebrews 7 says was about Jesus. So Jesus is the priesthood of Melchizedek. We are an order of priests according to the order of Melchizedek. Psalm 110, that's about the Messiah. And then when the Messiah comes, he's after the order of Melchizedek. So it's a superior and a fulfillment of both the Melchizedekian priesthood and the Levitical priesthood. Does that make sense?
Yeah, somewhat.
A little bit.
Well, I'm just trying to give you the history to show that, like, it is the city of Jerusalem. It is that area that eventually they take. And you'll notice, too, if you're reading Joshua, there's a text in Joshua, I forget which chapter it is, but it specifically says that they eventually have taken the land. So, because modern day people in the Likud or Netanyahu's party, they'll try to say that there's still Amalekites around. So they spiritualize and say that anyone that disagrees with Israel is Amalek. But the Amalekites are gone. Like there's no Amalekites today.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So they use that to say we're still fighting this battle. Yeah, exactly. But there's no Amalekites. The Amalekites are gone. They're just using these texts to say that we're still fighting the same battle from Joshua's time.
Yeah, so naming it Israel, that's all a ruse. You think?
Yes and no. So on one level, there are Jewish people that I think are genuinely Jewish people, but the religion is kind of mixed in with rabbinic philosophy, Kabbalism. It's kind of all over the place.
All right, so I guess
And
I
I
could
would say
get away
ultimately,
with
and at the end of the
shit
day,
like that.
many Jews just kind of do whatever their rabbi says, and so it's kind of amorphous and subjective, because they don't believe in like going to another rabbi to get a higher opinion. It's just sort of like, if this rabbi right here that I have tells me to do this, then that's what I do. Even if he's wrong, you just do it. So, no, I'm serious.
Really?
They have a position that you don't go to check it and like find out. Like, it's relativized.
Right. Oh, really?
It is, yeah. So I would say that's kind of a disqualifier, that it's like identical to the Old Testament Hebrew religion. We believe as Orthodox Christians that the authentic Hebrew religion is Orthodox Christianity. They worship the Trinity in the Old Testament. They're looking forward to the Messiah even in the Old Testament. Jesus says, you read John 5-9, when he's debating with the Pharisees, who are the proto-rabbinical rabbinic philosophers, right? The proto-Talmudic philosophers. Jesus says, Abraham believed in me. Abraham rejoiced to see my day. So Abraham had faith in Jesus, the Messiah. That's his argument, right? And they're saying, how are you? You're not even 50 years old. How are you around when Abraham was alive? That was years ago. And Jesus is saying that, no, I am God. I'm the one that created Abraham. I'm the one that gave Israel his name, right? So Israel is also personified in the person of Christ, right? There's a prophecy at the beginning of Luke that says, out of Israel I called my son, right? In Isaiah 53, 54, those famous suffering servant chapters predicting Jesus, he's called Israel the suffering servant. So Israel, yes, it's the name of, right, it's after Jacob wrestles with the
family,
angel.
right?
But when he says, I've called you Israel, when he's wrestling with him, Jesus in John 1, at the end of John 1, says that he was the one wrestling with Jacob. So he's the ladder of God. So he's the one that named Jacob Israel. So Jacob becomes a symbol for the whole nation state. But if you fast forward to now, after the coming of the Messiah, Israel isn't a nation state, because in Matthew 21, Jesus gives a parable where he says they were divorced as a collective nation state. So what we have today does involve Jewish people, but it's a nation state created for a socialist geopolitical ideology that was formulated by people like Moses Hess. Have you heard of him?
No.
So he's like he was a forefather of socialism and Marxism. Like he's right around the time of Marx.
Okay.
And he wrote a book about in the 1860s, and he said that we've got Rothschilds on our side, and we're gonna create this nation state in Palestine. We're gonna call it Israel, right? And we're
So
gonna,
Palestine did exist.
it did exist, yeah.
So why Republicans don't?
I mean, in prior to that, if you go back to the Middle Ages, it was a Byzantine Christian place.
Right.
So it was actually a Christian place. To this day, the Orthodox Church is the third largest landowner in that nation state of Israel. So you have even Orthodox, some of the rabbinic Jews today who take their text seriously, they think Zionism is wrong and that they're not supposed to be in the land until their Messiah comes. So even the Jews don't have really a consistent position on this. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, so that whole Israel thing, they have a hidden agenda, ulterior motives. A lot of people think
When they named it Israel.
a lot of people think
exactly.
it's for religious,
Yes.
really, but it's not. It's a.
It was a secular, atheistic. I mean, some of the early people involved in Zionism had some belief in God, but not anything to do with the way that the Old Testament describes Hebrew religion. And when you get to the 3rd, 4th, 5th centuries of the history of the church, that's when you really get this split between Judaism at that time, Second Temple Judaism, from the days of Christ up into the 2nd, 3rd century, and the formulation of what's called rabbinic or Talmudic Judaism. So that's when it really crystallizes. They collate in the 4th, kind of make up for not having the temple. So, well, you go to your synagogue, right? How do you do good works and sacrifice? Well, you give money, right? So it's like you make up for not having a temple and all that with this new rabbinic Judaism, and that's where we are today. That rabbinic Judaism is not identical to Old Testament Judaism, even in the days of Jeremiah. If you read the prophet Jeremiah, you're going to notice that he talks about the lying pen of the scribe. And Jesus mirrors that when he preaches against the Pharisees in Matthew 22, 23, 24.
It's fucking crazy.
And he talks about the scribes and the Pharisees sit in the seat of Moses, they're hypocrites, all of the,
Why is all
prophecies of the
degeneracy?
prophets will come upon this generation in vengeance. This is the vengeance of the prophets is coming upon this generation because they crucified Messiah. So you get the divorce of Israel as a nation state in Matthew 21, I think 43. So we're living in the Christian era, but they don't accept that. So they had to kind of come up with a rabbinic means of having the religion without the temple in the land.
Now, a lot of people label Israel. I don't, people label me as anti-Semitic. I was like, man, I love Jews, I love everybody. But a lot of people label the current state of Israel as the synagogue of Satan. Is there any truth to that?
I think in the New Testament when Paul is talking about, because Jesus says that in early on in Revelation, right? It's Revelation 2 and 3 where Jesus is rebuking the churches, and he says, "I will make those who claim to be Jews that are not Jews let bow down before you." Talking about in the resurrection. And then Paul says in Thessalonians that the Jews are contrary to all people because they rejected the Messiah. So I believe that rabbinic Judaism is against Christianity, yes, and it is a synagogue of Satan in that its philosophy and its theology are essentially collated against Jesus being the Messiah. Like, it's not a genetic thing, right? Sin isn't genetic. Sin is a choice that we make, and everybody sins.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, is there anywhere in the Bible where God's chosen people, the family of Israel, do they got immunity from the Ten Commandments? No. Of course.
That's why rabbinic philosophy comes about, is to come up with excuses and casuistry. You've probably seen like the way that Hasidic communities come up with creative, shall we say, ways to get around the Sabbath. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Go into it.
Okay, so like if you can look it up, it's not me making it up. There's a couple examples. Is like because you can't do any work on the Sabbath, right?
Right. So you can't work. You'll be stoned to death. I just read that.
So the way that they get around that is you can't flip a light switch, right?
Right.
So you move a switch that doesn't cause the electrical current to actually be cut off. You just remove a switch and then randomly you let the current be turned off, and so you're not working. Okay, another example is you can't.
That's crazy.
You can't walk outside on the Sabbath. Okay, in rabbinic Judaism, in his strict Hasidic rabbinic Judaism. Well, what if we took a string and we looped it all around this parking lot to make it an enclosure,
right?
And then we're not outside anymore because it's enclosed. And I'm serious. It sounds like a joke, but
it's kind of like the COVID thing. They put up the tents, go outside.
It's the COVID mentality.
Yeah.
So that's what Jesus was rebuking. And that's what the religion became, a means of getting around the actual spirit of the laws versus the letter of the law. And that's what Paul will talk about. When you get to Galatians, particularly Galatians 3 and 4, Paul will make the very point you just made.
I kind of want to go back to Palestine. So before Israel was established, Palestine was there, and who lived there? It was everybody,
Christians
Muslims,
lived there, yeah. So
Jews,
right.
Muslims,
yeah.
They were all there in Palestine together.
Yes. In fact, I just recently read a book by a bunch of it's a French historian and intelligence analyst doing a retro analysis of all the British spies that the British Empire sent out to spy out and to do reconnaissance on all the Middle East. Because at the time of the British Empire, like late 1900, 1890s, 1900, 1910, a lot of the Middle East hadn't been charted yet, right? So they sent out very famous spies. Even some of them are even women, which is weird, like Gertrude Bell, T.E. Lawrence, St. John Philby. They sent them out to spy because oil had just been discovered. British Empire wanted oil, and so they're called black gold spies. And so they went and basically just charted the whole land, all of it, got an assessment of things that people didn't even know existed. Like there were churches, old remnants of churches in Jordan that had been destroyed because it became Muslim, but there were just the old cathedrals that people didn't even know existed. So there's even evidence of communities of Christians in Jordan that people didn't know about until these spies got there, is what I'm trying to get at. So it's a very complicated, nuanced history of the Middle East. I'm not a Middle East historian, but I've read a lot on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, yes, you have a lot of people living there. You have a government that's very amenable to all the people groups prior to the founding of the nation of Israel, because what happens is the British Empire decides that in order to, I believe, create a powder keg. I think they wanted this dialectical tension powder keg set up there for a purpose, for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Originally to find oil, but there wasn't really oil in Israel, but there's oil around. Mm-hmm. So they had this nation state established, Balfour Declaration, that was all bragged about by the Rothschilds, that they got that through. It was all partly their work. Moses Hess' book confirms that as well from decades earlier. So then it became more and more, I would argue, anti-Christian
Mm-hmm.
and anti-Muslim, because I think they want, I mean, there's what some people say 30% of people in Israel now want the temple rebuilt. It's called the Temple Institute.
Yeah.
So you got a sizable portion, a lot of the Likud party, a lot of the sort of the far right of what Israel calls far right. They want to rebuild the temple. That means they're going to have to get rid of the mosque. They're going to have to do a lot of.
And they got to bring in 2 red heifers, perfect, right?
All of that would be involved in the new temple, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a sizable portion that wants to do that, and then in America you've got people like John Hagee, and the Blood Moons of Israel. You know who John Hagee is? Yeah, like the biggest dispensationalist, right? Like Kufi, right? He's part of this group called Kufi, which tries to collect money from millions of dollars from Americans, like the Adelsons and all those people, and then they send it to try to rebuild the temple, to the Temple Institute. So you've got a sizable portion of dispensationalists and American evangelicals who support this idea, and I think, to your point, yes, it probably was a lot safer and more amenable to pilgrims and Christians, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before the British Empire put actual Jewish terrorists there. So the Irgun, the Stern Gang, this is where the modern nation state of Israel's actual military militia comes from. It comes from these organized crime gangs that are they bombed the King David Hotel to try to get rid of the British colonial oversight.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Had y'all heard that?
A little bit.
Okay.
But I came across on YouTube where there was supposedly they found their Messiah. They need 2 red heifers, and they gotta like bomb that mosque there and remove it. I didn't know how. I was like, it sounds crazy to me.
I mean, I think that
They was gonna clone the 2 red heifers or something.
there's always been this push. I mean, even I started reading the Bible in the 90s when I was like a young evangelical guy, and I've been hearing since the 90s, like, they're gonna sacrifice the heifers, and there's gonna be.
Okay.
I'm not saying that there's not people that want to do it. I'm just saying I've been hearing it since I was a kid.
Right.
And I don't know how legit those articles were back then, but I mean, they want that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's a sizable group that wants that, but if you're a historic Christian, like, there's no Zionism in the history of Christianity.
Right.
It's a modern atheist political movement. There's nothing really to do with what's in the Bible, but to your point, to use the terms of the Bible to kind of make it seem like
To dupe people.
to dupe American evangelicals, and that's John Hagee's job, is to get people on board with it.
I think Fox News is complicit.
Well, I mean, I just don't understand. Like, I brought Victor Ostrovsky's book with me, which I've been reading. Have you heard of him? He's like the famous Mossad guy that first came out with a book talking about what they're up to.
Mm-hmm. No.
Came out in 80s, like the early 80s, mid to early 85 or so. And they interviewed him on C-SPAN, I think around the time, like around 1990, because he put out a second book called Strategy by Deception. And he says in the clip, like, we just use it as a trick, and everyone knows it, to call people anti-Semites. He says anytime somebody starts telling the truth,
Yeah.
he says this. He's a proud Jew. Like, he says, we just use the label to discredit them.
Right.
So it's a known trick.
That's crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
he wrote By Way of Deception, which talks about a lot of this stuff.
And he was with Mossad.
Former Mossad who quit because he said he just couldn't go along with it anymore. He's tired of it. And Warfare by Deception, right? But he wrote this in 1990, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And then in his second book, he admits that Israel, for strategic purposes, helped fund, arm, and create Hamas.
Yeah.
Multiple times. And so I was supposed to debate a guy on this, and he backed out of it. But, like, I mean, it's
You
like...
backed out, huh?
Yeah, it's on record, right?
Would you ever debate Ben Shapiro? Or
Yeah, I asked him to debate multiple times. I think he just wants to talk fast and ignore the debate. Facts and logic. Babylonian Talmud, facts and logic. I mean, that's how it would go down, right?
Yeah.
We're like, wait a minute. And then he would just like, it's like the same as that chick I was debating on whatever, like 2 nights ago.
yeah, he's a very intelligent man. He knows all these
He
things.
is intelligent, yeah.
He knows
He'd be a
all
good
these
debate,
things.
yeah. I don't think he would do it though. I mean, he tried to
Yeah.
debate, or Candace tried to debate him, and
Yeah.
he backed out of that.
If he's not going to debate a black woman, he definitely ain't debating a white man.
What if I identify as a black man?
Yeah.
Now it's blown up enough.
Now, in his second book, Ostrovsky's second book, he says that the reason they did that was because a strategy of destabilization through an Islamic radical group was more effective than Arafat and the PLO, because that was a stabilizing force, and they'd rather have something not stable than something stable in terms of their enemies.
Right, right.
I've heard stories that Netanyahu and Israel's behind 9/11 to create the animosity between evangelicals here in America and Muslims.
There's definitely a key role, I think, that what's called far right party played, I guess, the Likud and those people, because most of the people that wrote the PNAC document that talks about America needing a Pearl Harbor style event prior to the 9/11 event happening.
Okay.
Many of them were neocons, many of them were like big Israeli operative type people. So there's definitely an Israeli role. I don't know if Israel did it. Like, it's not like one nation state did it. I think you had to have high level cooperation between moles and people within the agencies to get that done. But I do think that it definitely played a very advantageous role to Israel. But I also think that British intelligence benefited. I think the CIA benefited, and I think Western intelligence in general will cooperate on these types of things
Like
at a high level.
Men?
What do you mean?
What? Maybe I am important?
It doesn't take you to find a guy. Like, ultimately, like this idea that you got to be stacking dates and like going on multiple dates per week. Look, you can do it, and if you find that to be the most effective strategy for you as a woman to do, I guess by all means. But I'm speaking strictly from the perspective of, hey, if you're going on that many dates, I'm just going to assume that you're not really all that inclined to actually pursuing something serious. You're probably just dating around. You've got, okay, if I'm going on a date with a girl, let me put it in this perspective. How about this? Let me frame it like this. Because I'm throwing in, okay, some guys come is inside her. She's stacking 3 dates in the night, 2 dates in the night. How about this? Maybe this is more realistic. I go on a date with a girl. Say I meet her on a dating app. And on the date, I'm like, so how long?
Can't watch this stuff anymore.
Or do I sound
Pisses me
important?
off.
Are they YouTuber, comedian, writer, author, and TV presenter?
Yes.
That's important.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, let me just ask, what's important to you?
Well, number one, I'm Orthodox Christian, so that's probably the most important thing, Orthodox Christianity. Following Christ. Number 2, my wife, my job, what I do, doing all this YouTube stuff. writing for Sam Hyde, do the Alex Jones show. I've been hosting Alex Jones for 6 years. So those things are important. And then kind of, trying to get good messages out to the culture against feminism, against leftism, all that kind of stuff. So that's what's important to me.
Right on. And I read that you were an Orthodox, and I want to talk about your book as well.
Sure.
Orthodox Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even though I'm learning more about it than I've known beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
but explain to us what is that exactly?
So basically, we believe that it's the ancient form of Christianity that is in league with, in concert with, what the church taught for the first 1,000 years of Christianity. So if you read the church fathers after the apostles of the first, second, and third century, whether it's Irenaeus or Cyprian or Ignatius or Clement, they all teach the same thing that we teach, and they're the successors to the apostles. So Orthodox Christianity is really maintaining that tradition, but we're noticeably different from Roman Catholicism because we don't have a pope, and we are not Protestant because we do believe in a lot of things that Protestants don't believe in, like the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. We have apostolic succession, we have oral tradition, so all of those things kind of set us apart from both Protestant churches and the Roman Catholic Church.
It seemed to be
Well, I gotta listen
like
to that
a
again.
Catholic church, Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
What's the difference?
even though I'm learning more about it than I've known beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
but explain to us what is that exactly?
So basically, we believe that it's the ancient form of Christianity that is in league with, in concert with, what the church taught for the first 1,000 years of Christianity. So if you read the church fathers after the apostles of the first, second, and third century, whether it's Irenaeus or Cyprian or Ignatius or Clement, they all teach the same thing that we teach, and they're the successors to the apostles. So Orthodox Christianity is really maintaining that tradition, but we're noticeably different from Roman Catholicism because we don't have a pope, and we are not Protestant because we do believe in a lot of things that Protestants don't believe in, like the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. We have apostolic succession, we have oral tradition, so all of those things kind of set us apart from both Protestant churches and the Roman Catholic Church.
It seemed to be like a Catholic church.
In ways.
And why do you guys look like a Catholic church in ways?
Well, if you go back to the early church, the first, second, and third century, when the apostles went out and they set up churches, when Paul went on his missionary journeys and set up churches, we believe that he established worship services for the church that are not directly written in Scripture. So there's a tradition of what's called liturgical worship, which is the type of worship that you would see in the Old Testament with David writing psalms. Those psalms that David wrote were meant to be sung and played in the temple liturgy, or after Ezra in the synagogue system services that Ezra set up. So we think that the apostles, not just Paul, but Peter, who went to Rome, or Mark, who went to Alexandria, that they also crafted for the church liturgies. And when you read, say, Justin Martyr in 150, he describes the worship service of the church in 150 AD, or Irenaeus in 180 AD. Those are early church bishops and saints and martyrs. They describe the worship service like we do in the Orthodox Church. So a lot of those things are elements that are continued out of the ancient Hebrew tradition of the temple and the synagogue worship. So you have things like vestments, you have things like an altar, you have things that would be familiar to people familiar with temple and synagogue worship, but also new elements that Christ established when he came that make it uniquely Christian. So the Lord's Supper, things like that, baptism as part of the initiation rite, like all of those things are uniquely also part of the Orthodox Church, but they have elements that I think are best understood not as pagan Roman accretions or something like that, but things coming out of the ancient Hebrew tradition. So we have vestments and tradition, things like that.
And do the Orthodox Church get along with the Catholic Church? Do they like one another?
Not really, no.
They don't like each other?
No, we split about 1,000 years ago.
And why?
Well, in the 11th century, the papacy at that time, the Pope, in the Middle Ages, early Middle Ages, he decided in the 1100s that he would be the greatest bishop, the head bishop of all the bishops.
The Pope decided that?
Yeah, and so that's called the Gregorian Reform, so the 11th century under Pope Gregory. And then after him, successive Catholic popes, Roman Catholic popes, made more and more grandiose claims about the church of the West and his church, that he would control the whole global church. But he also, in 1382, under Pope Urban, he claimed that you had to also believe that the Pope was a temporal king as well as a spiritual head of the church. And this is a document called Unum Sanctum. And in that document, he says, if you do not believe that the Pope is also an earthly, worldly king, you can't be saved. And so these were kind of like gradually moving the Orthodox and the papal church apart. So that's why we haven't got along. Other things too, like certain theological issues, but those are the main issues.
I read that the Catholic Church came about because they wanted to deceive the people and control them for personal gain. And that's why they came about, and they created this Pope guy. And is that true?
Well, I mean, so the word Catholic just means the universal church or the fullness of truth, right? So we call ourselves as Orthodox, we believe we are the Orthodox Catholic Church. So we're the right believing Catholic Church. And so the word Catholic itself sometimes is associated with us, but also sometimes associated with the Pope.
Will I get in trouble for drawing
if you mean,
stuff
did
like
the
this?
papacy or did the Pope by the Middle Ages begin to be this deceptive entity? We would say yes, but we don't think in the first 1,000 years that the Pope was
will it be
evil
better
per
if I
se.
say I'm
there were good and
pro
bad
baby
bishops
killing?
throughout the first 1,000 years of Christianity, so many of those popes are saints in the Orthodox Church.
Why did the Pope establish a church when God said, let no man teach you? And so they got this Pope guy, and that's all they do is teach people instead of pointing them back to the teacher.
Well, I think when Jesus says, call no man on earth father, let nobody be your teacher, he's using rhetorical devices of teaching, like cut off your hand if it makes you sin, right? You don't literally cut your hand off, right? So I don't think Jesus is saying no one teaches you, because Paul says to Timothy, I'm your father in the faith, I have taught you, Timothy. So it's not an exclusive statement, it's a rhetorical teaching device. But I do think you're right that there can be situations where humans try to arrogate themselves above the Word of God, for sure.
I noticed that the the Orthodox Church, why they seem to be dark and depressing.
Well, if you go to Orthodox Church, it depends on when and what time. One reason that they're dark is that the church comes out of the Middle Ages when they didn't have electricity. So there are a lot of monastic cathedrals that still don't have lights. So they have candles that light the church. That might be one reason why they're, if you mean literally darker, is that what you're saying?
Right.
Or are you saying like spiritually darker?
Literally dark.
Yeah,
and depressing light.
I mean, if you go to Orthodox liturgy, it's very warm. It's a very inviting. Most people describe it as a very warm experience. So, for example, at Easter or Pascha, we have a service where it's dark, and then at night you light it up. So it gets really light with the candles and everything. So it really just depends on when and what time.
What's the purpose of having services in the dark?
Well, for example, at Pascha, it's a situation where it's dark before the resurrection. So we believe that Christ is resurrected, and then everything lights up. So it's before the world's in darkness, just a symbol of the world being in darkness, and then it lights up super bright when there's the resurrection.
Why and when did you become an Orthodox? What made you decide, instead of being a normal Christian, what made you become an Orthodox?
Well, this is normal. If you go the first 1,000 years of Christianity, this is what's normal. So there were no Protestants back then. So this is normal. That is Christianity.
So have you always been an Orthodox?
No. To answer your question, I think I became Orthodox in 2017. So I was raised Baptist. My family's Baptist.
Yeah.
And
you especially from the South. From the South, right? You grew up in Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
You have to be a Baptist down there.
Or a charismatic. Right. So, I was raised Baptist, and then I started reading the church fathers and reading church history and studying how the Bible came together when I was in my 20s. And I put a lot of time into that, and I became Roman Catholic in 2003. So I was Catholic for 10 years, maybe 9 years, somewhere around that. And then I started realizing that there's something wrong with what the Catholic Church taught after Vatican II in the 60s versus what they taught before it. Because, for example, you have, in the Middle Ages, the Pope would call crusades against the Muslims.
Yeah.
But then after the 1960s, they're going and praying in the mosques with the Muslims. So those things can't be true at the same. Like, how are you going to call a crusade, and then how are you going to go pray with them, right? It doesn't make any sense praying in the mosques. So I was just looking for what I thought would be the most authentic version of Christianity that was the Christianity of the first 1,000 years. And so I just eventually found my way to Orthodoxy. So that's since 2017.
Were your parents disappointed?
No, I mean, my mom's always been supportive of my religious studies and journey, so she wasn't critical of it at all. My dad's not in good health, but he didn't care.
Oh, okay. And so how did it help you personally to become an Orthodox? How were you helped by that?
I think that the Orthodox Church, since I believe it's the true church, I think that it has the grace and the power that I was looking for in a lot of these other groups to actually change you. So I've seen in my life since being Orthodox, almost 10 years, maybe 9 years now, a lot of hopefully improvement. I mean, there's a lot of areas I've still got to work on, but I've seen a lot of passions, a lot of, you talk about emotions a lot. I've seen a lot of that being overcome. We stress in the Orthodox Church that you need to be dispassionate, meaning not ruled by your emotions and your passions. That's a big part of Orthodox spirituality. So hopefully I've seen a lot of that improvement. I mean, I still fall into getting angry at times, but...
You do?
Sure, yeah, sometimes.
You get angry at times?
Yeah, at times.
But let me ask, do you cry over Mother Mary on Friday nights?
I don't cry over her, but we believe we did.
But your church do cry over Mary on Friday nights, right?
No.
That doesn't happen?
No.
Oh, y'all cry over Jesus dying on Friday night.
I mean, in an Easter service during the week, there are certain services building up to Easter where you do fast, and we do like the canon of St. Andrew, which is repentance. And you can and perhaps should cry over your sin in those situations, but we don't cry over Mary.
Oh, but you cry over Jesus, yeah. Then he died on the cross.
I mean, at a certain time, but then you have to rejoice when you celebrate the resurrection. So in other words, we kind of represent every year the life of Christ.
Oh, you do?
So that's what we call the liturgy. That's the yearly cycle of the services. And it's really just to represent the gospel every year. So you kind of live through his life, death, and resurrection every year.
Every year you relive it?
Mm-hmm.
And so do you cry over Jesus?
I mean, there might be times when you're crying over repentance, and you could you could be moved to cry over, a sermon or something, like about the death of Christ. But, I mean, we celebrate, let me put it this way, we celebrate the resurrection more than we are crying and mourning, if that's what you're asking.
Right. But just from my understanding,
sure.
So you do cry, you have cried over Jesus' death, right?
I'm sure at some point, yeah.
And what were you crying about? Why cry over that?
I would say, depending on what time of my life you're asking about, I mean, it would probably be just related to the fact that our sins are what resulted in Christ willingly going to die on the cross. So it would be a reflection of some form of repentance, I think.
Oh, I see. I'm black and slow, so take me a little bit.
I'm BIPOC too. I identify as black. So that way I get away with a lot more.
That's why you were late.
Well, I'm on my own BIPOC time.
You identify as black.
Right, but I wasn't late. I was on time. But,
right.
Because that's it. When I show up is when it's on time, right?
That's right. What's the purpose of crying over Jesus' crucifixion when Jesus is not dead?
Because
why keep going through that?
Well, again, it'd be like saying, well, why would you read the gospel of his birth when he's in heaven now? It's because the whole message of the Bible always has an eternal meaning and significance. So that's why every year the Orthodox Church represents the entire life and death and resurrection of Christ, because it's an eternal thing that you keep learning from. There's always something to learn from.
But he didn't want us to die over his death. He wanted us to rejoice. Why? I mean, he didn't want us to cry over his death. He wanted us to rejoice. And so I don't understand the crying. First of all, he's alive. He's very much alive. And the death was for to wipe away all our sins. What is the crying about?
Well, we have to always continue to repent. That's not something that just happens once. You got to live your life. Paul says, I have to keep buffeting my body. I must run the course. So even Paul says, like, we still have to keep doing these things. It's not like you just did this one time in the past and then you ever have to do it again. So we're always repenting. We're always asking for forgiveness. If you look at David's Psalms, David is constantly asking for forgiveness.
And so you're going to be crying every year for the rest of your life?
Yeah, but we're also celebrating every year to the rest of our life. So it's both.
That's amazing. Do y'all make up the tears, or you think about Jesus is dead? I can't believe it.
I mean, it would be fake if you were doing that. I mean, we think we're not doing it to show everybody else I'm crying. I'm
Right.
crying. It's
So you really feel sad about Jesus on the cross?
well, if I have a hardened heart, or if I'm in a worldly mindset, I might not be moved at all. So, I think the idea is that we want to be as close to Christ as we can, and if you're moved, then you would do that. But if you're not moved, you're not gonna like fake it, be an actor or something.
So what makes you cry? Thinking about his death? Is it thinking about his death that makes you cry, or the preaching about his death, or the music, or is it the whole thing?
Again, I think that the purpose would be that you realize the gravity of your sin, and so you want to turn from the sin. So, like, I'll give you an example. You asked about, so during Lent, which is preparation for, we're time of fasting and whatnot before the culmination of Lent.
Do you put that stuff over your head, the black?
That's a Catholic thing. We don't
Oh,
do
okay.
that,
All right.
that's just to signify that you
Right.
are dust of dust, to dust you return. Again, so we would say that Christ, as the Son of God, willingly took on death at the cross so that we could participate in his life to overcome our sins. But the overcoming of the passions and the sins is, for most people, a lifelong process. So, like, if I got angry at my wife, last month, and the preacher, the priest gives a homily and that moves me, and he talks about the death of Christ, like, I might be moved to repent because I know that my sins resulted in the death of Christ. So that's
Mary, Mother Mary. I was told that the Orthodox believe that Mother Mary, and I want to say it, I think how I heard it, that Mother Mary is waiting somewhere up there, so that when y'all die, she's gonna meet you somewhere between there and heaven, and she's gonna take your body over to heaven, to Jesus. Is that true?
I've never heard that.
You never heard that?
No, not Orthodox view.
What have you heard about Mary and the dead body? I may be saying it wrong.
Well, I mean, in our view, Mary is in heaven, and we believe that she is up there with Christ because she was his mother, right? And so we think that the saints that are in heaven, they're not divorced from us. They are in our lives in a mystical, spiritual way, and so they pray for us. So, for example, if you go to Orthodox Church, we believe that Sunday liturgy, we think it's identical to the worship service that John is seeing in Revelation chapter 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, when he looks up into heaven and he sees this lamb slain and he sees an altar and incense and vestments. We think that is the Orthodox Church on earth. It's the same thing for us.
Really?
So we believe Mary is not apart from us, but that she participates in the same service and that she prays for the church on earth. So we're not crying for Mary, or she's not taking bodies somewhere. She's just praying for us. She ain't stealing bodies.
And so, have you read in the Bible that Mary was interceding for you? For you all?
Yeah.
Have you read that in the Bible that Mary is interceding for you?
Yes. So the answer would be, if you look at Hebrews 11 and you look at Revelation 12 and you look at Revelation 5, 6, 7, 8, you can see that the saints are in heaven. They're praying for the saints on earth, the church on earth. They intercede and they offer the prayers of God, the prayers of the saints to God. And we're all one heavenly family according to Hebrews 11. So yes.
Really? And that's why you came up with this idea that Mary is praying for you from those
Well,
because
yes,
the saints in heaven.
but it's not just from those passages. It's also ancient Jewish belief before Christianity came. They believed that righteous men could intercede for other righteous men. So if you read the book of Amos, for example, prays and he says, God, don't destroy Israel. And God says, because you prayed, Amos, I will not destroy Israel, even though I was going to. But had you not prayed, I would have. So we would say the prayer of a righteous man availeth much, as James says. And so if the saints in heaven they're more righteous than we are because they're in the presence of God, their prayers availeth much. So if I can ask my mom or my wife to pray for me, no different than asking a righteous man or a righteous saint to pray for me.
That's amazing. Why y'all make Mary was important? You had Jesus, so I'm not putting that down at all. But why y'all make Mary so important when Jesus told Mary to go sit down and be quiet? If you had been praying or seeking the Father, you would have known what I was doing. Why he yelled at her if she was so important? And he told her to sit down.
Well, it doesn't say he yelled at her.
But I know.
That's not amazing.
He didn't make her that important. Why have you guys made Mary so important?
Well, at that passage, he also says, it is not my time yet, it's not my revealing. So a lot of things that were later to be revealed, we believe, were not yet revealed.
Right.
So not everything has come to fruition. And he also didn't want the apostles, for whatever reason at that time, knowing exactly what he was up to. Probably because they weren't able yet to handle it, because he says elsewhere in the Gospels, I have many things to say to you, but you're not able to handle it yet. So there's a perfect time for those things to come to be revealed. So we believe in what's called typology, which is the idea that there's a lot of things in the Old Testament that are foreshadowing what would come in the New Testament. And one of those things is the idea that Mary is also the Ark of the Covenant. So in the Old Testament, you have the Ark of the Covenant. You have God's law inside of that. That's Emmanuel, God with us, the presence of God amongst the Jews. And we believe that when Jesus went down into becoming incarnate in the womb of Mary, he chose her as a new Ark of the Covenant, fulfilling the Old Testament Ark of the Covenant. That's why if you look in the Old Testament, she spends, the Ark of the Covenant spends 3 months in the hill country of Judea. Mary goes and spends 3 months in the hill country with Zechariah and Elizabeth. And then the holy, the Shekinah, the glory cloud would overshadow the Ark of the Covenant. And then you have the Holy Spirit overshadowing Mary. So there's a parallel between these two things that we think Mary is the fulfillment of all those things. And that's why in Revelation 12, you see Mary presented as the Queen of Heaven, we believe.
That's amazing. Isn't that like amazing? It's so interesting.
I didn't know I was going to be, it's a theology, I mean, it's fine. It's just, I didn't know what to expect today. But
and the reason I ask that, because nowhere in the scriptures where Jesus outrightly made Mary a big deal. You know, he barely mentioned her. And yet, she has been turned into a saint, and you pray to her, and you worship her. That's kind of odd and interesting to me. That's why I wonder how that came about.
Well, but if you, I don't know what you believe about the New Testament, but we believe that Jesus is the one that inspired all the New Testament. So if the book of Revelation presents her in chapter 12 as Queen of Heaven, that's also Jesus saying she's the Queen of Heaven. So it's not like Jesus has to say it in red letters or something.
That's amazing. One other quick thing. Do your church, Orthodox religion, believe that Jesus was God or the Son of God?
He's both. Because the word God can be used in different senses and different references. So for example, the Old Testament in the burning bush, when God says, I am that I am in Exodus 3:14, if you go over to Exodus 23, a few chapters later, God says about the angel that spoke in the bush, he says, that angel, that messenger, can forgive your sins, or he may not forgive your sins, and I have put my divine name of Yahweh in him. So the name of God, Yahweh, is given also to this angel messenger in the Old Testament. That's not just that passage. You have, for example, in Gideon, or in Judges 6, it says that Yahweh, the Lord, stood next to Gideon and turned his face to Gideon. And if you read John chapter 5 through 9, Jesus says to the Pharisees, nobody ever saw the Father in the Old Testament.
Right.
And yet we have a lot of these passages in the Old Testament where it is said that they saw God face to face, like Moses saw God face to face on the mountain, or Gideon saw God face to face. So for the Orthodox Church, these are called theophanies, or divine manifestations in the Old Testament. So point being, summary of all that is, if Jesus says no man can see the Father at any time, then who is this face of Yahweh that is called God, that forgives sins, that is worshipped throughout the Old Testament? Well, Jesus is arguing to the Pharisees, that's him. That's why he says, before Abraham was, I am. The same statement as Exodus 3 about the burning bush. So Jesus is the Son of the Father, but he has the same nature as the Father because he's also God.
That's amazing. Nowhere in the Bible, anywhere where Jesus said himself that I am God. But everywhere in the Bible, he said, I'm the Son of God. My Father's in heaven. My Father sent me. My Father give me the words to say. It's not me, but it's my Father doing the work. Don't worship me because it's not me, it's my Father in me. My Father and I.
He never says don't worship me.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
He did.
No.
He
When he goes to he says, put your hand in my side, right?
Right.
And he says, my Lord and my God.
Right. But he wouldn't talk about himself.
No, it's the apostle saying that to Jesus.
Right.
Thomas is saying, my Lord and my God.
But Jesus never said him. Other people said things about him, but nowhere in the Bible where he said, I am God.
Before Abraham was, I am.
Right, but he still didn't say he was God.
What's I am?
That he did exist.
What is I am, though?
Because he is. I am is meaning he's whole, he's one person.
No, it's from Exodus
he
3.
Existed.
Exodus 3, where God says, I am that I am.
Right.
And then in John, Jesus is saying, before Abraham was, I am.
I know, but you still nowhere where you're going to find where Jesus said, I am God. And I understand that the preachers and everybody are making that up, and they putting all these words together, and they make it sound like what they wanted to sound like. But Jesus was clear that he was the Son, he and the Father, one the Father in him, and he and the Father. And so he made that very clear. But the teachers, the preachers and others, they put all these words together. And so you believe Jesus.
So in John 17, he says to the disciples, he says, I came to give you a share in the glory that I had with the Father before the foundation of the world.
Right.
So does he have God's uncreated glory?
Yes.
Before the foundation of the world?
Yes.
Okay, then he's God.
No. He was one with God before the foundation of the world because he came from God. But he wasn't God. He came from the...
well, he's not God the Father, but God can have a son.
Right.
Right.
He does have a son.
But he can be worshipped because he is the Son of the Father and he's the creator of the world.
But he didn't want to be worshipped because he knew the weakness of human minds, and human beings are always looking for somebody to worship. And so he did not want to be worshipped. I remember when he rode into town on the donkey. One of the reasons that he rode in on the donkey because he wanted to be known that I'm just a son of God. I'm not God, so don't be worshiping me. I'm just like everybody else.
Okay. But the word God...
But the people worship him anyway.
Okay.
Like they do with Mary.
If I have a son and he would have my nature, right?
Right.
We both have human nature, right?
Absolutely.
So do you think that he's the son of the Father? Do you think the Father's uncreated?
He would be your son created in your image.
Right.
Right.
So
but he wouldn't be the Father.
Right, I agree. But
likewise with
Jesus is right, but I'm saying if Jesus shares his Father's nature, do you think the Father's nature is uncreated?
Uncreated? What do you mean by that?
Does God have a beginning? Was he created or is he eternal?
He's eternal.
Okay. So his nature is uncreated, it's not created.
Right.
And so would his son not have the same nature?
100%. He would have
it. Jesus isn't a creature.
I'm sorry?
Then the Son of God is not a creature, he's eternal just like the Father.
Right, just like the Father.
Well, then he's
But they didn't make him God.
eternally
I
God.
understand how people want to see that he's God. I understand what
Well,
you mean.
you just said
but,
that he is.
But he's not God. He has
You
the-
just said that he is.
He has the eternal nature of the Father.
Then he's God.
And why do you say that?
You just said it.
No, I didn't. I
You
can
just
see
said he has the divine
he has
nature.
the Father's nature, but he's
That
not.
means he's divine.
I know what you were saying about that, but do you believe he has a Father?
Mhm.
And he has a Father, right?
Mhm.
Then how could he be God? Are you saying he's God because he had the Father nature?
The word God, yes.
Oh, okay.
The word God can pick out a person or a nature. And so the Father is God. But if he has a son with the same nature, then the word God can also pick out the son, and it can also pick out the nature that they share. Just like the Holy Spirit has the same nature.
That's amazing. So let me ask.
Uh-huh.
Ask. Do you believe that you are the only begotten Son of God? That
Me?
you are.
No, I'm not described that way. We're described as sons by adoption. He's the son by nature. So if you read John 1, it says that even when he was in the flesh walking around with us, it says that he was in the bosom of the Father at the same time. So I'm a son by adoption. He's a son by nature.
So you don't believe you're the only begotten Son of God?
Jesus is the only begotten son. We who are Christians who believe in him are sons by adoption, not by nature, by grace.
Do you believe you can do greater works than what Jesus did?
Well, he says that in the Gospels, meaning that the apostles will be able to do way more than he does because there'll be many of them, whereas he was at one space and one time.
So you don't believe you could do greater works than what Christ did?
Not specifically, no.
He said you could. Why don't you believe that? You believe all
Well, I
that
just
stuff about
answered it.
Mary and everything.
Well, Mary has gone on and she's deified. I'm not deified.
So why can't you do greater works though? He said you can. He's
But
like,
did
don't
you-
worship
okay.
me.
But did you hear what I said? He never says don't worship me. Where?
In the Bible, he's
Where?
like, greater works than you can do than what I'm doing.
Okay, but
Would God ever tell you that? That you could do greater works than him?
because he chose to be at one place and one time, walking around in Capernaum and Bethsaida and Jerusalem, he's saying to the apostles, because there's many of you, you will be able to go out and do many good works. That's what he means. He's not
That's not
saying,
what he said.
well, if you want to combine it with the rest of the scriptures to make it make sense, that's what he has to mean. Because he's not saying that a human being that's a creature can do greater than the Son of God. That's absurd. Jesus is the creator. Hebrews 1 says he is the creator of the world.
That's amazing.
So
Ain't
how
that
could a creature
That's
be greater than the
amazing.
creator?
So let me
That's
ask,
amazing.
because of time. Because I want to move on to some
Sure,
other
sure.
stuff. You believe in God?
Uh-huh.
You believe in God?
Sure.
And you said you have anger. If you believe in God, why do you still have anger?
Well, what's the name of your show?
This show here? The fallen state.
We're all in a fallen state. So as long as we're in this life, we're still going to be liable to sins, passions, and temptations. So at times, all of us, we believe, still fall into sins. We're not perfect in this life.
But Christ said that all of your sins have been forgiven and wiped away. Why do you believe you still have them?
Well, you can still sin because he even says, even though you've been forgiven, if you don't forgive your brother, it will be accounted against you. So you still can sin and not be forgiven.
And do you forgive your brothers? Why do you hold on to anger rather than just dropping it and be done with it? Because anger is evil. There's no
Right.
love. It's the nature of the devil.
Uh-huh.
And anyone that has anger is of the devil. How can you serve God and the devil?
Well, what I said was, at times a person can give in to the temptation to be angry. I didn't say that I hold anger right now. So for us, if you look at James, James says that sin, when it gives birth to choosing in accord with the passions, he says then it becomes evil. So we don't think that having a temptation to be evil, to be angry or something like that is sin. But sin is when you consent to something evil with your will. So everybody still, we would say, still has sin. John says that even if any man says he has no sin, he is a liar. So we all still sin.
And so sin is of the heart, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Sin means that anyone that has anger is evil and they judge. They judge
I
themselves,
don't
they
believe that.
judge
No, I don't
other
believe
people. And that's what the sin is, playing God, because anyone that judges is playing God. As long as you play God, you can never know God. You know about him, You have ideas, but ideas about God is not knowing God or Christ.
Well,
Why not drop your anger and be free? Because of the nature of the devil, why don't you drop it and be done with it?
okay, first of all, Jesus says to judge with righteous judgment in John 7:24. So it's not always wrong to make a judgment or an assessment. But if you judge when you have the same sin, then it's like being a Pharisee or being a hypocrite. And again, David says, be angry and sin not. So it's not always wrong merely to have anger, but to let that anger go out of accord with what's in line with God's law. If you were to hate your brother or something like that, and it's not righteous anger, then that's a sin. But sin is not a state of being. It's an action.
So is your heart of evil or love?
Again, it's not either or, because everybody is liable to, if you have a dirty thought, like, that's a sin that you consent to, but it doesn't mean that your whole person or your whole being is evil. Evil doesn't have being.
Do you believe that it's possible to have perfect peace on earth while you live?
In a relative sense, but that doesn't mean that you're never going to have some even small sins.
So you do believe you have perfect peace or you don't?
Again, with qualification. I don't know what you mean by perfect peace. You mean like perfect sinlessness?
Do you have perfect peace?
Well, peace is like the presence of the Holy Spirit giving you comfort. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're perfectly sanctified. So is that what you mean, like never sinning? Is that what you mean?
No, I'm asking about peace. Do you have peace?
I think so at times, yeah.
Why don't you have it all the time, no matter
Because
what happens?
we're in the fallen state.
Well, Christ said you can have it. Because he said any person with anger, he said man being a woman too. He said any person with anger is evil, and you should not trust an angry person.
Okay, but where is that? I've never heard this verse.
Yeah, it's in the word.
Where?
I don't know, somewhere.
Okay.
It's in there for sure.
Okay.
And so if he said that anyone that has anger is a murderer, and you should not trust an angry
it says
person.
hating. No, John says to hate your brother in your heart is the same as being a murderer.
No, I'm talking about what Jesus said. Jesus said anyone that has anger is a murderer, and you should not trust an angry person. Have you noticed you can't
He
trust
says
angry
if you're
people?
angry with your brother without a cause, you are liable to the judgment.
No, that's not what Jesus said.
Yes, it is. That's what the Beatitudes say.
Have you read where he said that anyone with anger is a murderer, and you cannot trust an angry person?
No, I've never read that.
You got to read it.
Well, John says in 1 John that if you hate your brother, you're a murderer in your heart. And Jesus says anyone who's angry with his brother without a cause is liable to the judgment. So that's the Beatitudes. So I'm not sure what you're referring to.
That's amazing. If you can have perfect peace on earth, would you accept it?
Sure.
You would?
Sure.
Why you pause?
Because it's a bizarre question.
It is? Why is that a bizarre question?
It's bizarre because I've never been asked that question, and I'm also trying to figure out what you mean by it. So.
Okay. And so, if you can have perfect peace on earth while you live, you would accept it?
In my own personal life.
Yeah, in your own personal life, where you can never, ever, ever, ever again be affected by anything or anyone. Would you accept perfect peace?
I guess.
You're not sure?
This is a weird question.
What?
Never be affected by anyone. So, like my wife, like if she kisses me or like I don't feel any affections, or what? Like you should not affect it at all.
You wouldn't be affected by anyone for any reason at any time. So, would you have perfect peace, accept perfect peace, if you could have it?
I guess.
You're not sure? You're not sure?
I'm not sure.
Oh, so you really don't want perfect peace?
There's ambiguity in the terms, so I don't know what you mean.
I'm black. And slow. What does ambiguity mean?
I'm black and slow too because I identify as that. I get away with more. So.
What does that mean?
What is what?
Ambiguity.
It's unclear.
Oh.
It's vague.
You want me to make it clear? Okay. If you...
Well, repeating the words isn't going to make it clear. I understand the words, but the words are vague. So when you say perfect peace and then you say nothing would affect you, like, well, I want some things to affect me. Like I want to be able to feel emotions towards my wife or towards my friend. Because emotions are good. They're not bad.
There's nothing good about emotions.
Well, then why did God give us emotions?
God did not give you emotions.
Where they come from?
Satan. All angry people have emotions. They're very emotional. They're up one day and down one day.
Okay.
They're happy one day and they're
Okay.
They
Do you believe
love
God created? Did God create
They
everything?
love you one day and then they
Okay.
hate you one day. That's not from God. That's not love.
Okay. But do you think God created everything?
I know He did.
Okay. Then He
But
created
He didn't
emotions.
create.
Then He created emotions.
No.
Then He didn't create everything.
Right. And the emotions come from Satan.
But you said God created everything. That would
But I didn't
include
know you meant
emotions.
emotions.
Well, that's everything.
Well, his God's love is a dispassionate love. It's a non-emotional love. Satan's love is an emotional
I
love.
see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So we don't believe that dispassionate means not having emotions, because emotions are good for us, but they have to be channeled and kept within the bounds of what's sin. So, for example, in our view, it's not always wrong to be angry, but to be angry without cause is what is the sin. So it's
That's
not.
what they teach you at the church, at your.
James says that it's not the concupiscence or the passions that are evil, but it's when they give birth to sin that makes them evil. That's our view.
So if you can have perfect peace right now and never get angry again, speak up and deal with life, but never get angry. No one can make you feel good. You know how when your wife want to control you, she say all nice things to you. Oh, honey, I love you. You're such a good man, right? And, oh, honey, I love you. And then you feel good. At the moment you're feeling good, she said, well, there's a sale going on at Sears. I want to get this hat over at Sears. You're like, no, we can't afford that hat. And then that I love you, honey, go to, I hate you. You cheap. My mama told me not to marry you. So she go from hate to love. Would you want a life where however she act or anyone act, it wouldn't bother you?
Is that because women are the gates of hell?
What?
Women are the gates of hell. That's what you say.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
That's a good question. But would you like to live a life, would you want to live a life where you can be controlled like that? And that's just a small example. But would you want to be a life where you wouldn't be controlled like that?
So, again, I think, I recognize that human beings can do emotional manipulation, but that's different from saying that every emotion is inherently evil. That's where I disagree.
But they couldn't do it if you were not an emotional man and you only had perfect love. They could not manipulate you.
Saying that emotions have a place does not make me emotional. So that's a false equivalence.
What do you mean by that?
It's two different things.
What do you mean by that?
Think about sexual attraction, right? It's not inherently wrong to be sexually attracted to a woman. But if I act on that outside of what God lays down, that's when it's bad. But it's not the desire itself that's bad.
That's amazing. So let me ask, you say you're married. I gotta move on because of time.
That's fine.
Does your wife obey you?
Yeah.
You obey you?
Sure.
And how did you get her to be obedient? For me, is that
Emotional manipulation.
men who are really dealing with that. Men who are dealing with that, they want to, their wives, most women don't obey men, do they?
I see what you're saying, yeah.
What would you suggest to those men? How did you get your wife to become obedient to you?
I think that she respects me because I, most of the time, live and act as a man should. So she wants a man who's strong, who's, intelligent, who can run a business, who's, able to be, a leader. And so she is more willing to defer to my authority in those situations than if I was a beta, as you say. Beta. If I was a beta, it would be a lot harder for me to, try to get her to take my lead. But so I think if you just be a man, and I agree with you to not be led by your emotions.
Right.
And then a woman will typically tend to follow you. But you got to be strong. You got to be, consistent, and not be beta.
How do you deal with the hell in her when it comes out?
The hell in her?
Yeah.
Peter says, when he writes his epistle, he says that men be patient with your wives because they're the weaker vessel. So I think every human being is fallen, and men have a temptation to be lazy or to sit back. Women have a temptation to be usurping the man's role. So that's the temptation to the woman, is to be like a man, and men have a temptation to be lazy and sit back. So to counteract that, you gotta be vigilant and be patient.
So when the hell comes out of her, you just like look at her while she's going crazy, and you go, "What the?" And you just let her act out until she get past it.
I
What are
mean-
the guys who are dealing with it? Do you just let her act out her craziness until she get past it? You don't overreact to it.
I think if you're a guy, the best thing to do in a situation where you're in a heated confrontation with your wife is to probably try to leave the situation, let things diffuse, come back in 2 or 3 hours. And actually, in the Orthodox Church, this is something that we like. I do a lot of debates, so I get into a lot of heated confrontations with atheists and Muslims and all kinds of people. And most of the people who give me advice, because we always have checks and balances with other clergy, they always say, try not to immediately react to these situations. Try to step away, let the heat diffuse, and then you can come back and because you have your reasoning powers back. If you get all wrapped up in emotions, you're going to act.
Yeah. Well, you definitely shouldn't overreact to it at all.
And that's what I'm saying. If you step away,
Right.
you let it diffuse.
Amazing. One other quick thing about God, and you made me think of this when you asked me about the gates of hell. What made you ask me about the gates of hell?
Because
the woman's at the gates of hell.
It was just a funny line that you had in the Jamie Kennedy podcast.
Oh.
And you said, "Women at the gates of hell," and he said, he said, "Bruh, it's aggressive." Do you remember that? He said it's aggressive.
No, you mentioned it, yeah. So, do you agree with me or disagree that the God above is the man's God and the God below, Satan, is a woman's God?
No, that's Gnostic.
That's what?
That's Gnosticism.
That's nasty?
Gnostic.
You said that's nasty? Why you think that way all of a sudden?
That's the teaching of some of the Gnostic sects of the early first centuries.
What's that?
Or Manichaeanism. It's a heresy.
What's a Gnostic?
The idea that that women are somehow of the devil, but men are of God. That's false. God created them both.
So a Gnostic is another religion?
Yeah.
Oh, I never. Yeah. I think somebody else mentioned something like that, but I've never really heard of that.
Probably
at all. But let me. So you disagree?
Yeah.
And why you disagree? Other than it being Gnostic, why do you disagree?
Well, not just because it's Gnostic, because I think the Gnostic beliefs or the Manichaean beliefs are dualistic, and they're just simply, they were reduced to nonsense. I mean, if God created man and woman, how could the woman somehow be satanic, but the man, because they both fell?
Long story short, remember one day Eve went grocery shopping?
What?
She went shopping for dinner.
What? Okay. I don't remember this.
Yeah, she was out in the garden shopping.
Okay.
And while she was shopping, Satan came by, and he saw her out there. He's like,
Right.
"Hey, Eve, how you doing?
Right.
Oh, good to see you, Eve."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Right on, good to see you. How's Adam?" He asked. And he said, "Oh, he's doing fine."
Yeah.
"Oh, good. Tell him I said hello."
Uh-huh.
And so when Eve went home, she said to Adam, "I saw Satan today, and he asked me to tell you hello."
Okay.
And Adam said to Eve, "Stay away from the devil. Do not have anything to do with him at all."
Well, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
No.
And then
That's not what
Eve said, "Okay," because at that time she obeyed her husband, who obeyed his father. So the three were one. They loved one. Eve loved her husband, who loved his father, and it was just nothing but love in the air, right? God's love.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day, long story short, she went back again to the market to get some grits and eggs, because she had never had that before. And she ran into Satan again. And he was like, hello, how you doing, fine? And he asked, "Are you still with that guy?" And she's like, "Yeah, I love my husband. I obey my husband. My husband loved his father, and we're doing just fine." But he said to her, she had seen it before. You know, I'm faster.
Yeah.
I'm going faster.
Gotcha.
And then he said, why you keep listening to that man? He listened to his father. He's not even his own man. He listened to the father. Why you listen to this guy who listened to someone else? His father. You can be your own woman. You can be a leader. You can be your own woman. You can take your bra off. You can do your thing. And she's like, really? He's like, yeah. And she believed Satan when he told her that. And the moment she believed Satan, she no longer believed her husband. The relationship fell apart because Satan had become her God in that moment. She took on the nature of Satan. That's why women are so angry and controlling and emotional.
Well, but Paul says,
then, hold on a minute, I'll make it short.
Okay.
So she became like her father, the devil. She no longer obeyed her husband. And then, after a time period, she finally said to admit.
After her period?
A time period, that too. But after a while, she convinced Adam that he could be his own man. And why you listen to your daddy? Because now her nature, her mindset and emotions are the devil. And she's like, why you believe in your daddy? Don't let your daddy control you. Be your own man. And after telling him that for so long, he's like, you right. I can be my own man. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm not going to listen to him anymore. And now, Adam no longer believed his father, God. He took on the nature of evil, Eve, which was the nature of Satan, evil and emotional and all that stuff. And so, one day, God was like looking for Adam. Adam, come on, we're going to go fishing today. And he went looking for Adam, and he was with Eve. And he's like, Adam, what have you done? He's like, well, I listened to the woman. And I'm no longer listening to you now. I listen to the woman who listened to the serpent. And the woman became his God. Satan became the woman's God, and the woman became the man's God. And that's why women control men until they overcome the nature of the woman. The woman is his God, and men don't know what to do with the devil in her. And so now, but thank God Christ came and restored us so we can go back to the Father. Salvation is about a return to the Father. And now men are subject to the woman because they have not overcome her until he overcome his mother. So do you see now that Satan is a woman's God?
I understand.
Until she forgive and return to the Father.
I understand the story that you told.
Right.
But it's the opposite of what Paul says.
What did Paul say?
Paul says Eve was deceived, but Adam transgressed.
He did because he listened to the woman. He listened to the hell that's in the woman and Satan.
But they're both fallen, and it doesn't mean that the woman's God is Satan, and then that it's just all mixed up.
Why do you think the hell come through the woman?
I don't know what that means.
Angry, controlling, emotional.
Every human being is susceptible to that.
Doubtful and want to control everything.
But it's not from a woman.
Yes, it is.
No,
it's
from a
fallen. It's the nature that's in her.
But as a man, those are temptations that I have because I'm a fallen human being. It's not because of my mom that I have those temptations.
Have you forgiven your mother?
Sure.
You told her?
Yeah.
What did you say to her?
But what does that have to do with whether or not?
Because if you have not forgiven her, you have your mother's nature. And every woman you get involved with, it's the spirit of your mother because you hate her.
Okay, where did you get all these ideas? Because these are out there.
It's in the Word.
No, none of that's in there.
Yeah. Read.
This is your creed.
Oh, no. Read Genesis. It's all in there.
Well, I read Genesis, but this interpretation, where did that come from? I'm curious.
From Genesis.
From the Talmud, maybe?
No. What? A
From the Talmud?
No, the Christian Bible.
Okay.
Read Genesis for yourself. You'll see that.
Okay.
And when you forgive your mother for turning against your father, imposing her will on you, when you were a kid, traumatizing you.
Did this happen to you?
Let me just say this first. Traumatizing you, when you forgive her because she couldn't help herself, her mother did it to her. even when your wife, when we forgive our mothers who couldn't help themselves, their mother did it to them, and it goes on from generation to generation till you forgive, then God will forgive you and He would change it. He would change it from the nature of Satan. He would change your heart from hate to love, and then you will love God with all your heart, soul, and might, and then love everybody with the love that God loves you. But you got to forgive your mother and your father. Your mother your father for not protecting you from her. He couldn't help it because he married his mother. You married what you hate.
Does this happen to you?
Yeah, it happened to every human being on the planet.
Okay, but
That's
when you read the Bible, did that resonate with you because that was your experience growing up? Is that what I'm saying?
No, I read the Bible because I was allowed to see it by God that you had to forgive. You had to forgive your mother because they couldn't help it. Mothers don't have love; they only have hate. That's why they're jealous of the children and the father.
But where did you come up with that idea?
Read Genesis and let me know what you think because I'm tired. Read Genesis and then let me know. That's not true.
Okay.
And forgive your mother. Hey, mother, I'm sorry for resenting you. I realize now you couldn't help yourself, and I'm wrong for judging you because I have the same thing going on with me too.
Do you know who Yaqub is?
Who?
Yaqub.
No.
Do you think God is Yaqub?
Yaqub?
Yeah.
Is that a black name?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Do you think he was a black God that created us? No. Okay.
You think he black?
Well, I mean, you know about Yaqub. You don't know about Yaqub? You never heard that?
No.
Okay. You should look into that.
Is he a black person? Do you think God is black?
Yaqub is.
Are you joking?
No.
No, are you white or Jewish?
Me? I don't know my DNA. I might be Jewish. I don't know.
So do you think God, are you joking? I can't tell if you're joking or not.
Well, I'm trying to figure out because a lot of what you said kind of sounds like it resonates with the teaching of Yaqub because he created us in a certain way, and it sounds like that kind of a story. Like Yaqub created white people as an experiment, and what you're saying kind of sounds in the same vein of the way you would read Genesis. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, no.
But you're not familiar with that?
Not at all. Not zero. So then, are you into politics?
To a degree.
Did you vote for the Great White Hope?
Donald Trump?
Yes. See? Are you talking
about Kamala?
Some people.
You're talking about Kamala.
Some people call him amazing, right? What manner of man is this? The wind and the sea obeys him.
Donald Trump.
Some people call him king, and they hold rallies.
Yes.
Honored the king.
Hindu people thought he was God.
And some people call him daddy.
Yeah.
But I call him the Great White Hope.
Okay.
Did you vote for him?
I did. I voted for Trump.
What do you think about the work he's doing now? What do you think about how is he doing?
I would give him
a
B- to a C.
Meaning what? Why so low?
Warp speed was a failure. That was nonsense. The Iran war was contrary to what he campaigned on. Those are the two big ones that come to, and then not releasing all the Epstein files after saying that he wanted to. Those are the three things that come to mind. Those are big failures.
And so because you disagree with those three things, you only give him a B-?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because those are pretty big things.
What does he have to do to get back up to an A? Because in the beginning you gave him an A, right? Before he first started
when he came in this round, he started off strong. The second round.
He did, very much.
And now he's kind of trailed off. So.
But it's not over yet, and it won't be over till the fat lady sings.
True.
So
that's Kamala.
You got that's right. What a mess, huh? Thank God we didn't get hurt.
I know, right?
What a mess. Just hold on. You're gonna see some amazing things coming.
And what makes you say that?
Because Donald Trump is of love.
Okay.
Real love.
Mm-hmm.
And love don't fail.
Okay.
So don't worry. You're gonna be smiling and you're gonna give him an A back.
Okay.
All right.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And then what about after the Trump? Like.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I have a way to see. You're right about that. I sometimes think about that, but I have a way to see about that.
Okay.
Yeah. See what's gonna happen. I'm just trying to see what's happening now and live now.
Okay.
But I know what you mean. That has crossed my mind too. But I have a way to see about it. So are you happy that he's deported the aliens?
Yeah, but it's not like it needs to be. It needs to be more.
Be more?
And also, we need no immigration. I think we don't need any more people.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. 100%. We don't need backdoor integration or front door.
Exactly.
I totally agree, man.
We had enough people.
We had enough. What do you think about the fact that white people, and especially white men, are the most hated species in their own country? What do you think about that?
A lot of crazy leftist professors. And the weirdest part was when I had an advisor, and he was an older white dude, and even he was a crazy liberal guy, but he said, I'm going to tell you right now, if you try to go into academia being a professor as a straight white male, they're not going to want you. And he told me that in the 2000s. So that kind of soured me on academia.
Yeah.
So I felt it before. I think a lot of people did, like in the normal workforce, you know what I mean? Like people who go to 9-to-5 job and they have a HR person that's pushing the DEI stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt it a little bit before other people did in academia. But I think it's crazy, but it's by design. I think
it is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
By design.
And what is it like being discriminated against? I tell people white people are under genocide right now in America. They just don't seem to realize it.
Right.
But they are under genocide. What is it like being treated this way in your own country? Because if it was for white people, there would be no America. There would be no place for these people to come and attack white people. What is it like living with that?
It's a struggle. It's tough, but it's also, I think, we as a people are able to rise to the occasion. I think that we'll make it. We'll survive.
The white people will?
Yeah, sure. I think that enough people are beginning to kind of wake up to realize that, no people group should be eradicated, and that includes white people.
Right.
So whether it's Arab people, and we've heard forever, right? Like, it's, Middle Eastern wars and all this stuff, it's anti-Arab, it's hatred of Arab Muslim peoples. Okay, well, if it's wrong to hate people, then we shouldn't have people colonizing America, right? Because that's hatred of white people, right?
Yeah.
And the people say, we were coming here, we hate white people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. If it's wrong to hate a race, then it's also wrong to hate white people.
When I was growing up, long story short, when I was growing up, I grew up under the Jim Crow law and all that stuff.
Under what?
Jim Crow.
Jim Crow.
Down in Sweet Home, Alabama.
I'm from Tennessee.
Oh yeah, and life was amazing then.
Jim Crow is a whiskey, right?
It's a
type of whiskey.
It may be now, but at the time it was a white man.
Oh,
they made this law.
I'm joking.
But
I'm thinking of Jim Beam.
at the time, even though there was a Jim Crow law, white people and black people got along just fine. They really did. Those that wanted to talk to each other, they did it. Those that didn't, but no big deal. And black people were independent. They were not relying on some black leaders or anyone else to tell them what to do. They had parents. They had businesses. They worked. They did their own thing. They lost that as a result of the civil rights movement and all that stuff, right? And then they started to force black people and white people to live together and all that mess. You can't make anyone love you. It has to happen naturally. But I know for a fact, during those days, white people were strong. They were not afraid. They spoke up. Why did they lose that courage that they had before the civil rights movement?
I think that the 60s civil rights movements were engineered to brainwash a generation into believing that everybody is identical, everybody's the same, you have to believe everybody's the same, and if you don't, then you're evil. And they were brainwashed to not want to be an outsider, to go against the grain, but all the education system was already subverted to get people to believe that. So I think it was engineered. And a lot of Marxists and a lot of socialists pushed that in the 60s to give people that idea.
Why don't white people throw all these people out of their country? The blacks and everybody. Why do they let them stay?
Because there's an entrenched political bureaucratic class and a deep state that has power that they can't overcome.
What a mess, huh?
It is a mess.
So it's only going to get worse.
Probably. Probably. By the way, my grandmother was a Southern Belle, and she had a mammy.
A nanny?
A mammy.
A mammy. Right on. I
And
love
everybody
it.
got along.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying to tell you, it was. They lie about what was happening there. They make up lies.
Yeah. When
I'm like, I was there. It wasn't true.
When I was in college, my American history class, even at a liberal state university, we had to watch a series of interviews with the last generation of blacks that had lived under slavery. And they were interviewing these people. It was like an interview from the 1960s or 70s, right?
Okay.
So people that were like 80, 90 years old,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And they were interviewing people that had lived under slavery, and they said, what was it like? Were you whipped every day? And there's a black man said, the old black man said, no, it wasn't that bad, really. Everything was fine.
Yeah.
And everybody was wanting him to say
Right.
it was awful, and it was.
Yeah.
Now I'm not pro-slavery, but I'm saying like they just lie about history.
They lie about
Yeah.
it. Why you not pro-slavery?
I think that, I mean, it's a better situation where if you can have a meritocracy than to have slavery.
So what's wrong with the blacks?
Black people.
Yeah.
What's wrong with them? A combination of things. Probably they were given thug culture by MTV and the establishment on purpose to mess them up. Because there was periods when black people, like in the 40s and 50s, were doing well. They had businesses, they were educated, but
Right.
then they started giving them this like
Listen
fake
to
culture.
Jesse Jackson and all those people too.
Listening to these fake
Martin Luther
these
King,
fake people, yeah,
And all those people.
yeah.
And really quickly, then I got to put you on the hot seat.
Sure, yeah.
What's the solution to all this?
Christ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
You got to.
I can't think of that. Yeah, like because you can't just do political solutions. Politics is
It's
interesting,
not going to work.
but it's not going to save
Right.
the culture and the people.
I agree. What a mess, huh?
It's a mess.
What
What's the
about-
hot seat?
So I got to put you on the hot
Is
seat.
it okay?
And I need you to answer these questions as quickly as possible,
With one word or like a full answer?
however you want to.
Okay.
My dream team is Donald Trump, Netanyahu, and Putin. Do you agree with me that they're the dream team?
No.
What is a man?
What is a man?
What is a man?
A man is strong, leader, independent, creative, decisive, fit, healthy, beautiful, like myself, an e-diva like myself.
Which is worse, abortion or slavery?
Which is worse?
Which is worse, abortion or slavery?
Abortion's worse because it's murder.
Should we give the blacks reparation?
No, because there's no way to figure out how to tabulate that.
What is love?
Love is to treat other people as you would want to be treated.
What is a woman?
A woman is a biological female who is created to be a companion to a man.
Have you ever told anyone how the cow ate the cabbage?
That sounds more like a boomer cliche, so no, I'm not a boomer. I don't know those
But you're from the
cliches.
South, you had to hear that growing up. I told them how the cow ate the cabbage.
Okay.
Meaning that they went off on him.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Which would you rather see as president? Sam Hyde, Nick Fuente, Kanye West, or Ben Shapiro?
Sam Hyde, because I write for Sam Hyde.
Right on. Do you love the Jews?
I love all people, and that includes Jewish people, sure.
Do you love the Jews?
I love Jewish people like all people because we want all people to become Christian.
And do you love the Jews?
For the third time, yeah.
I'm
Is this
sorry.
like Peter's, like where Jesus asked Peter 3 times?
Right.
Okay.
Is the earth flat or round?
I'm an agnostic. I don't have any opinion on it.
Have you ever tasted something that was so good it made you want to slap your mama?
Aunt Jemima syrup.
Are UFOs real?
No, they're faking gay.
True or false? When she's crying, she's lying.
False, but sometimes true.
Is it ever okay to call a woman fat?
Yes.
I wouldn't call my wife fat, but I would call public fat women fat.
So it is okay to call women fat?
Yes.
It's okay at times?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
You love white people?
Yes.
True or false, sending your child to a public school is child abuse?
It's pretty much.
Yeah. Amazing. Tell the people about your book.
Oh.
And how they can get it, and your website and everything. And I appreciate you taking it. Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun. This was crazy.
That was amazing.
It was crazy. It was amazing.
Tell the folks how to get your book, your website, and why they should get it.
So I wrote 3 books on Hollywood. I wrote other books on philosophy and stuff. But the newest book is Esoteric Hollywood Part 3. And I go through and kind of decode the symbolism in a lot of films, a lot of critique it from a Christian perspective, that kind of stuff. So it goes pretty hard. You can get it at my website, jaysanalysis.com, and they're all signed copies from the website. Don't get it from Jeff Bezos on Amazon because I don't make any money from that. But you get it from me at the website, and it's jaysanalysis.com.
Repeat that again. Your website.
jaysanalysis.com.
You do a podcast too, right?
Yeah, I have a YouTube
And they can
channel.
find it there and everything.
I'm on YouTube, Jay Dyer. You can find me on Twitter, Jay Dyer, and then
Okay.
I host Alex Jones on Fridays.
Right on. Amazing.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it, man. That was
Absolutely,
fun.
man. It was crazy.
And thank you all for tuning in. I absolutely appreciate it. Let me hear from you. You other interesting people you want to see on the show. Contact my producer at JesseLeePeterson.com. No, I'm sorry. Wrong producer. That's the radio one. Producer.
Be a wage slave if you a comedian in Los Angeles, and that was so crazy. Donut from Universal.
Oh fuck! I gotta eat something, dude. Yeah, start working tomorrow. Actually, very excited. Very excited. Yeah, I think I'm gonna finish up. I think this is it. I'm good with this. I gotta eat something, dude. I'm gonna sleep early.
Yeah, we got invited to go to Israel. I said, hell no. Yeah. You sound like a black woman. Hell no. I was like, I'm not going. Yeah, we got invited. I said, no thanks, I'm gonna work. Yeah, why would I go there? I would feel so guilty if I went there. I think they make you put on the hat too, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it true you can't wear a cross?
That is true.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if I went out there and did this, the hell? I ain't wearing it. If I do that, will I get beaten up?
Yeah, they will spit on you.
Wow.
They will confront you.
No, you're kidding.
You can look up. There's videos of this.
Yeah, I've seen it too. Yeah.
Christians walk down the street. A lot of missionaries. They get spit on. They get attacked. Like mobs will form up around them and say, you know, you're a piece of shit. You're a Christian. We're better than you.
That's because they hate Jesus.
They hate Jesus. Yeah. In Israel, when they teach math in school, they don't use a plus sign.
That's so terrible.
Those are the most unmasculine looking fucking boys I've ever seen in my life. What's up with them hats? Like they was prevented from hitting puberty or something. That is crazy. You said in math they don't use that plus symbol?
Yeah, so in math they won't use the plus symbol.
It looks like a cross.
Because it looks too much like a cross.
No, come on.
100%, yeah. That's why they call them, you know, the racial slur for Jews is, well, I don't know if you want to say it because it's a show, but that comes from the Hebrew word for circle. Because when the Jews came in on Ellis Island, they put a check or a cross next to your name, an X, and the Jews said, no, don't put that on there, put a circle instead. Because they don't want the cross next to their name. They don't want anything resembling a cross next to their name. That's how deep the hatred goes.
Oh, okay. In the Israeli schools, an alternative plus sign. Wow, I did not know that it's an inverted T.
It's a cock and balls.
So, that is so weird.
Crazy as hell.
This is the first time I've ever heard of this. And you would think evangelical Christian conservative voters, I didn't know this, and a lot of them don't know this, and all that stuff you just said. And but they're our biggest ally.
Yeah.
It's like a con. Yeah.
Yeah, they suppress the information. And the funny thing is, they all know it. Ben Shapiro knows this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He won't tell his audience because, you know, if he tells his audience, who do you think watches his show? It's all these Christian Americans that are America first, love Jesus. He's Israel first, hates Jesus.
Right.
But Israel needs our country. They need our military. They need our money. And in order to secure that, they need all the Americans to think they're our closest ally. You know, we have to protect them, religious reasons, strategic reasons. But yeah, it's an unbelievable scandal, and I found this out, and that's what got me canceled.
That's crazy. We started reading the Bible. I was gonna read it from front to end, and Israel is a family. Right? And the descendants of that family. It's not like a country. It's just wherever that family lived. And they were Jewish. So Jewish people, that's like a race, right? Not a religion.
Yes. Well, it's both.
It's both.
It's an ethnic religion. And, you know, what a lot of Christians, it is
So I can't be Jewish.
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, there are different schools of thought. Some Jews accept converts. But the most hardcore Jewish law says it's matrilineal, meaning it's passed down by the mother. Your mom has to be Jewish. If your mom's not Jewish, they don't recognize you as Jewish.
Wow.
And the so-called converts, I got a friend who's Jewish, and his father married a non-Jew, a Gentile, and the Jewish family excommunicated him. They don't talk to him anymore.
Because all his kids are not Jewish. He has to marry.
They don't see him. They see him as like a race traitor, basically. So, but the difference is, you know, Christians, a lot of Christians have this idea that, you know, we all read the Bible. You know, the Jews are the Old Testament, we're the New Testament. But the New Testament, the relationship between the New Testament and the Old Testament, it's not a sequel. The New Testament and the theology in it replaces the theology of the Old Testament. So in the Old Testament, you have a religion that's based on the people of Israel. They make sacrifices at the temple. They have rabbis. They have the law. But when Jesus arrives, he changes everything because he becomes the law. We say that he is the law. The law is embodied in him. So the Jews are saying, well, the law of Moses says you have to stone this woman. And he says, well, I'm the law. He says, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. He completes and fulfills and perfects the law. He personifies the law. So in the same way that God gave Moses the 10 Commandments in the Ark of the Covenant, God gave us the law through Mary. We see Mary as the new Ark of the Covenant. We see Jesus as the new 10 Commandments. She carried him in her womb, just like the Ark carried the Old Testament. He is the law. He fulfills the law, just like the Old Testament was the law. And then, when Jesus dies on the cross, the veil is torn inside the temple. And within a generation, the temple itself is destroyed. There's always talk about the temple. The temple itself is destroyed because Jesus becomes the new temple. There's no need for a temple. There's no need for animal sacrifices. He becomes the sacrifice. So in the Old Testament, they're sacrificing animals. They talk about the red heifer. They're trying to do that. God gives us a more perfect sacrifice. He offers up himself. And so this is where a lot of the Protestants say, well, you know, we need to support Israel because the Bible says those who bless Israel will be blessed. But Israel, they're talking about, that's in the book of Genesis. And the book of Genesis is talking about what is Israel in the Old Testament and the first covenant that God makes with the Jewish people. When Jesus comes, just like everything else, Israel's transformed. The laws changed, the priesthood has changed, the temple has changed, and Israel changes. What was the family and the race becomes the body of Christ. He says there is neither Jew nor Gentile. The new Israel is the Christians. We're the new Israel. If you believe in Christ, you're now the chosen people. You enter into the covenant with God. You're grafted onto that tree. And so that's a theological.
Alrighty. Well, that is it. Tomorrow I start working. I'm excited. And starting tomorrow I will start working for 3 years, I think. It's not bad. Yeah. So my next 3 years of my life is pretty planned out. That's a crazy thing to think about. Well, I did have. Well, after COVID, I technically didn't work for like 5 years total, so. Which is kind of crazy. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I'll just draw here and there. Yeah. That's it. That's it.